everybody. Mike Missanelli Show on the air. Now, if you've been listening to 97.5 in the morning, you know that we had some technical problems here, and our phone lines are out, but that doesn't matter. We're still going to sit here and present a wonderfully entertaining and informative show for the likes of y'all. Hopefully this problem is fixed somewhere along the lines during our show today, and we can get the caller feedback. But in the meantime, we got text feedback, we got YouTube feedback, we've got all kinds of feedback for all these issues we're going to talk about today. And you can just pick an issue. We can spin a wheel here and pick an issue. So the first issue I would like to address is the Sixers with an effort last night. I gave an effort last night. I saw somebody, boy, you got to really laud the Sixer effort, and to which I replied, dude. But there was an effort last night with the Sixers against the Knicks, and they wound up losing the game anyway. It was a cover for the Sixers. Like I told Bill, the Sixers were going to cover that game last night. Well, in any event, Paul George has a night. And this was his first game in action after he announced that he is not going to participate in his podcast for the time being because he wants to focus on getting healthy, and he wants to focus on ball, and he wants to focus on the upcoming playoffs, whether the Sixers can do anything in the playoffs. And so we'll throw that out first of all. And I go, okay, how long have the Sixers stunk this year? It's been a long time, right? They've stunk all year. So why would he pick now to come to this enlightenment that maybe he should just focus on basketball and not worry about the podcast? So people say, well, at least he admitted that he's going to get serious. No. See, you can't buy me that way. You can't say all of a sudden now when the heat is on you to capitulate and say, well, now I'm not going to do the podcast anymore. Now I'm really going to be focused, when you should have been focused from day one of this regular season and day one of training camp, frankly. So does it do anything to me? No. Here's the thing about me, and it's a flaw. When a player turns me off, I can't get back. When the spigot turns off for me, I can't return the spigot. When things are so clear to me that this guy came in and had no interest in playing this season at a high level, you lose me. And I don't care what you do now. And I'm be honest, I'm the same way with Joel Embiid. I'm sorry. I know maybe it would be unfair, injured, blah, blah, blah. I am completely turned off to these two men who play for the Philadelphia 76ers, who were majorly responsible for blowing up this season. So on that note, we're going to move over to Bill and Ray because I want to hear both their opinions on this. And then we have a variety of topics that I want to hit, including the report card for the Philadelphia Eagles, and kind of a qualifier on that report card. We were astonished yesterday that the numbers came out so low, that their own players graded them so low. But first of all, Bill, good morning. How you doing?
What's going on, Michael? I'd be doing better if I took your advice last night and bet the Pistons and the Sixers.
Pistons with an outright last night. You know me, I don't like to pat myself on the back, but, you know, of all the Mikey Mushes I take all the time, oh, you're Mikey Mush. I never get a compliment when I give you an outright. I gave you an outright last night, and I also said the Sixers were a good bet. But that's all right, Bill. Let's move on to the topic.
Yeah, you got excited as soon as we gave the line on the Pistons. Yeah. But, yeah, the whole podcast P thing with Paul George is I saw this yesterday after the show with him coming out. And I know there's a lot of players that have podcasts in all four major sports. And we keep hearing that it's not a distraction and you can't expect these guys to just be involved in their sport 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I understand that. But for Paul George to come out when the team is 20-37 with the season that they've had and say, now I'm going to take a break from the podcast because I want to focus on my physical health and a championship and all that. So is he acknowledging that it was a distraction? See, that's the problem I have with it. So are you acknowledging that to start the season, that this podcast has been a distraction? Because once you say this, well, clearly, if you're stopping it, you feel that it has not helped you be better at basketball. So that's where I have the problem. I don't have a problem normally with these guys having these podcasts, but with him now acknowledging it, that's where it becomes an issue. Has this been impacting you? Has this been affecting you? And he did play better last night, Mike, especially in the second half. He had a really good second half in terms of scoring. He was shooting a lot better. Did have 5 turnovers, which I didn't like. Jalen Brunson did break his ankles on one crossover, which was ridiculous. But Brunson's pretty damn good. I don't know, man. It rubbed me the wrong way. As soon as I saw it, I texted it to you and Ray. Said, are you kidding me? Now he's taking the break?
It doesn't matter what he does now. I'll be honest with you. He has shown an unwillingness to perform at a high level for this team when they needed him to perform at a high level. So let's go to Ray, right? I want to be fair because I want to pass this around because maybe my opinion is not valid, right? What he did, is that okay in your mind?
No, it's comical. It's comical. Like, you get to this point, and it's like this week is when he decides to say, you know what? We don't represent a championship contender. We don't represent a team that's fighting to get into the playoffs and actually make some noise. And after that, on the heels of that, I'm going to say, you know what? I should take a break from my podcast because that is going to show that I am determined to get this team to the postseason and play for a championship. Now's the time. This is where you hit the big red panic button, say Podcast P's got to go by the wayside because I got to lock in. Is that really what he's going to think we all believe is the distraction? That Podcast P was the thing that was holding him back this entire time? I've watched him out on the court. I talk on a mic for 4 hours a day with you guys? Mm-hmm. I don't think I find myself totally mentally exhausted and drained to the point where I can't play basketball. He does a 1-hour podcast. That's the difference in his game right now? He's a 34-year-old player who has not been healthy all season. It's the fact that he's been talking to other NBA players that's held this team back the whole season. Give me a break.
It's a fake capitulation to win, try to win some points here because he knows now the fan base is way down on this whole thing. So now he's going to go, okay, I'm going to give up this podcast because I think it's the right thing to do. And he's trying to win points that way. But like I say, he lost me. This is more about me than anything. I have a sickness of bailing out on like you can never get me back. Like once I see a certain thing, you can never get me back. You can never win me back over.
I don't think that's just you. I mean, I think a lot of Philadelphia fans are like that as well. Once we turn on somebody for valid reasons, it's very hard to win them back. But Ray's right. I mean, this was just comical, man. I mean, right, this is comical.
Let's hear it. Let's hear from him. Let's hear from Podcast P, all right, Podcast DMP as we call him here, about his decision.
Fellas, it's no secret. This season is up to this point, man. It hasn't been what we envisioned. I know my goal when I first signed with Philadelphia was to bring a championship to these amazing fans here. I still remain positive about that, and that is still the case and where I'm coming from. With that being said, though, I want to let the Podcast P family know that after today's episode with Dwight, I plan to take a break from the pod just to focus on getting my body right, getting mentally right, and, help this squad make a push towards our goal to finish the season out, give ourselves a chance to be in contentions to compete for a championship.
So in other words, there's nothing positive I could talk about on this podcast, so I might as well bail out. And when I bail out, I can thank the amazing fans here and the Podcast P family and get my body right and get mentally right to do all this stuff. It is laughable, Ray. You're absolutely right. It's a laugh factor.
I'll be honest. When it was sent by Bill yesterday to the two of us, I immediately went all over Twitter to make sure that it wasn't an AI recording of Podcast P where someone was just dubbing his voice over him because they thought it'd be a funny bit.
Like it was NBA Central.
It almost doesn't feel real. I still don't believe that. Like, I just played that clip for you. I've seen it now a million times. I still don't believe that this is actually a real thing that came out of his mouth, and he has the lack of awareness to say this at this point in the season and think that this is a good thing.
Yeah, again, players are oblivious for the most part as what's going to resonate. Now, maybe this does resonate with fans. I don't know. Maybe it does. We got a text board open. We've got our chat board going on. Maybe it's like, well, yeah, he's a stand-up guy for doing that. I don't see it that way because you've had several months really to try to do something with this team to try to pick them up, and you haven't done anything. Frankly, if you can sit there and look at yourself in the mirror and say that you've played your best and that you have been invested in this season. You play like a man. Your body language is terrible. You don't play like I can see if I'm a star player and I had this notion and I was joining a really exciting team and it hasn't worked out for many reasons. The main reason being the Embiid situation that you would get beaten down. But that doesn't mean that you don't have a responsibility. Well, what you're getting paid and for the money and the extension you got from this organization, what your responsibility would be to try to make up for what's lacking with this team. And you have to play like beyond your means almost. That's your responsibility. The fact that he hasn't done that, the fact that he's going the other way with it, I got no time for him.
It's hard to argue with that.
610-632-0975. We've got a lot of things to talk about today. Podcast P. We've got the survey says, not Family Feud. That's the survey taken with Eagle players about the state of their organization. We'll go over some of those grades again. More tush-push feedback. Boy, people wanted a piece of me yesterday. You can take a piece of me today as well with my tush-push stand, where I think you can get rid of it. It's not a football play. I've always said that, even though it benefits the Eagles. And also, a discussion on Robo umpires today.
I'm looking forward to this conversation.
And I like it. And the fact of the matter is, I want the main umpire out of there. I don't like the challenge system. I like the Robo umpire with the lines determined in the strike zone. We'll talk about all of that. If you want to get in on a text board, it's 610-632-0975. Unfortunately, right now, we can't take your phone call because our system is down. But plenty of feedback happening on the Mike Missanelli Show. We're back after this.
Tyrone Johnson.
Anybody else has those lists? I wonder if anybody else thinks like me. Like, there's been a lot of guys. Like, once I've seen something, I'm done with it. And whether it's on the field or whether it's off the field, I'm done with him. Like, if I was in Baltimore, I'd be done with that kicker. I wouldn't want him to even come on the premises.
I didn't see what she said, but I saw the kicker's wife spoke out.
Was she standing by her man?
Is she? I didn't see it.
But you know what I'm saying. But if you do something on the field that I just, like if you're brain dead. Like,
you got an example of somebody from the past outside of PG or DNP?
There's been a lot of like fringe players, like people that I turn off to people who come up and do temp stuff. Because they sway fans. Sports is longevity. Sports is you have to do it for an extended period of time to get in my heart as you're a good player. And there have been so many players that have come through temporarily, like every left fielder that the Phillies tried, every bench player the Sixers have tried. I used to I turned off to Victorino at one point because he played the game so brain dead. But then, he's a pretty good guy, so I kind of got back at him. But guys like that, like who would steal with try to steal third base with 2 outs, being brain, like this Rojas. Like he'll do stuff like that, and I go, all right, yeah, I'm done with him.
Well, you may not be done with him because looks like he's a big part of the plans.
Well, I'm still done with him.
Yeah.
There's nothing he can do to convince me that he's a major league starter.
Now, this isn't necessarily along the same lines of like being done with a guy, but you just reminded me doing it for a short term. You remember when the Eagles had that wide receiver, Travis Fulgham?
Yeah.
Who came in and like
the kid from Richmond?
Yeah, from Old Dominion.
Old Dominion, yeah. All right, yeah. Yeah.
He did 5 games in a row.
That's a classic example.
It looked like he was the next coming of T.O.
He was on the practice squad. How come they didn't recognize he could play, right? Remember that?
Yeah, and then he just disappeared.
Exactly. Because people in this city get all in an uproar when somebody does something temporarily, like it's a miracle. Like, there's a reason why these guys haven't been in the league for a long time. Like, they're judged in practice. They're judged on other things that we don't see. So, like, I always trust that a coach knows more than I do, at least until a coach screws up, and then I reserve the right to criticize him. But you're absolutely right about that.
Yeah, something like that. Trying to think of others that have had short periods of time.
There have been many players in Philadelphia history that have given you the temp.
We do fall in love with those.
Oh, my God, do we fall. And we fall in love with the talentless.
Oh, I thought of another one. Was it Bryce Brown? Remember the running back that came in and had that huge game for the Eagles?
Kansas State kind of guy.
We loved him after a couple games.
Bruce Brown. Was it Bruce Brown? Was it Bryce Brown?
I think it's Bryce. I think you're thinking of the NBA player.
Oh, Bruce Brown is the NBA player.
It was right. Bryce Brown.
There's guys like that you go, okay, I've seen no. But it's 2 different subjects we're talking about. One is, like, you could be a really good player that does something that turns me off, and then I've got no time for you. Like, for instance, Reese Hoskins as a defensive player.
Yeah.
Like, I would go, dude, how in the world can you not catch a ball that's thrown across the diamond to you? Like, he would do mistakes like that. He would drop, like, routine stuff. And I go, this guy can never play defense for me, ever. Like, he's a DH.
Yeah. But we wanted him maybe at first.
Yeah, well, we did last year.
Last year.
He could add some pop. And sometimes you sacrifice, okay, he can't do this, but he can do that. And still help you. But the brain dead guys get me. I just don't understand them.
Yeah, and with this.
Especially in baseball. The thing in baseball, you got so much time to think about stuff and to process stuff. Like, not when you're a hitter, but if you're a defensive player, you should be surveying the whole situation on every pitch on what you're going to do if the ball comes to you, or if you're on base, what I can do to get to third base. If there's if the left fielder has a bad arm, maybe I can go first to third on a base hit that way. Like, stuff that you can figure out that you at the time you seem like you're trapped in your brain when the circumstance actually happens, when you have already should have figured that out.
Yeah, I understand with baseball. Like, we joke when I say I could hit a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. I understand how hard it is to hit a baseball. But when it comes to fielding, When it's your sole job to be a professional baseball player, I don't understand how players can be so bad at fielding. It's the same thing that always bothered me with Ben Simmons. Like, when your sole job is to be a professional basketball player, you can't develop some semblance of a shot. Like, I feel like we could all go and shoot a basketball for a couple of weeks and get a little bit better at shooting a basketball.
That's the classic example, number one on my list of a guy I said could never get me back. Once he did what he did in Atlanta, he could never get me back. That was it. That showed cowardice. And I go, I can't win with a guy who's a coward.
Yeah, you talking about
it's a total coward
in the playoffs. When
he wouldn't take a shot, and he took what was it? For the 4 quarters. There were the last 4 quarters in the last 4th quarters of 4 games. He didn't attempt a shot or something like that.
And then when Doc and Joel make a comment about it after, it was done. He wanted out.
Yeah.
You couldn't criticize.
He quit.
Yeah.
And that's a guy's got a mental problem, but never being criticized ever in his life. I always had this theory about Ben Simmons, is that, like, he was raised to be a prince. And he was like the savior of the country, the savior of the family, the whole bit. He was raised to be a prince. Could do no wrong.
That was his nickname, too, wasn't it? They were calling him the Prince.
Yeah, so therefore, when there was a flaw in his game, instead of working through that flaw and conquering it, he said, that's a flaw. I'm not supposed to have a flaw. So I will avoid doing it altogether so the flaw isn't pointed out. It's a great psychological analysis.
It is, and that was a very frustrating thing to watch. And what makes it even more frustrating now is when you go back to the Ben Simmons days in Philadelphia, that may have been our best chance. Right? What was it? 2018, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, J.J. Redick. That may have been our best chance.
And he was done in my mind. I just wrote him off. He could never. And people would say, well, he could research his career. Why did you see him play for the Nets? No. He showed enough. I'm out. And Paul George has shown me I'm out. When you show an unwillingness to compete, and you're making that kind of money, and you're just collecting a paycheck, and you're just totally disinterested, you're out with me.
And when you say the unwillingness to compete, what bothers me is they did compete last night. So where has this been?
But see, when you compete 1 game out of 20, that doesn't win me over. Sorry. 610-632-0975. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
76ers lose again. I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update. It was competitive, at least. The Knicks beat the 76ers 110-105 for the Sixers' 9th straight loss. Jalen Brunson scored 11 of his 34 points in the game's final 4 minutes. Post-game, Nick Nurse talked about the struggle of guarding the Knicks guard.
They're trying to do 2 things with him. I mean, he only took 5 threes tonight. That's pretty good. We try to not have him shoot too many threes. And then our other goal is to not foul him. And I think yeah, we bumped him a little bit here and there. But, I thought 16 was quite a few tonight for him.
Now the Sixers have 2 days till they host the Warriors on Saturday. They'll attempt to avoid losing 10 straight games. Flyers go for their 4th win in a row tonight as they play the Penguins in Pittsburgh. You can hear the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. The Phillies in Grapefruit League action today against the Yankees at 1:05. Quite the lineup. Kyle Schwarber batting first. No surprise, but he's playing first base for the first time since 2021. Edmundo Sosa is in left field for the game. Zach Wheeler on the mound. This update is brought to you by Mattress Firm. Mattress Firm's President's Day sale ends soon. Get matched to your perfect bed now and sleep at night. Plus, if you see a lower price, they'll match it. Restrictions apply. I'm Ray Dunn in the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5 The Fanatic. We're in we got some texts that we want to get to. We're also in this discussion about what athletes that have come through here where you just turn off to. And we both discussed Alec Bohm. It's really interesting. Is there anything that Alec Bohm can do to bring you back from the notion that he's kind of a crybaby and that we're tired of his act?
Yeah, I don't think I'm completely out on Alec Bohm. I'm close. I was a proponent of them trading him this offseason.
You're not out on him because of his new girlfriend.
Well, he gets a couple of pegs up in my book with Aaron Dolan.
Yeah.
But he can win me back this season if he has a good season at the plate, obviously, good season fielding, but more importantly, just stops the sulking. I don't need to see it anymore. He got benched in the postseason because of the sulking.
Yeah. I'm half out on him because of his attitude is terrible. He's not he doesn't act professionally. The professional baseball players don't act the way he acts. So he could be a productive player and not. I think he's going to act that way. That's just his personality. He can get really down on himself. When he gets really down on himself, that's the way he acts. Most professional players do not get down on themselves, and that's what defines their success. They don't take it as hard. He takes every mistake really hard, and then he blames other people, he'll blame umpires, but it's within him that does it. So if he can correct that, and I don't think he's going to correct it, so I'm half out on him. And I have silly reasons to be out on people. Like Rojas is not a silly reason because I think he really has not really paid attention to making himself a better hitter. He uses too big of a bat. He doesn't use the whole field. He wants to hit home run. Whatever he's doing, it turns me off. He's made mistakes going to third base when he shouldn't. And here's the ultimate that does it for me. And this is a silly reason, but this is how some people you can turn off the people for the silliest reasons. I'm saying I'm right about this. When he made that great catch, all he did was look at it for 10 minutes in the dugout on the pad.
Yeah, he was proud of himself.
Admire. And I go, dude, the game is still going on. You made a great catch. Okay, that's fine. Forget about it now. What, are you going to, worship yourself by continuing to watch the great catch you made? That turns me off. I go, what is that?
Yeah, when I have great takes, I at least watch it in private, I don't do it during the show, Ray. I'm not going back and watching all the arguments I've won. I'll do that tonight by myself.
Well, anyway, that's a silly reason. Most people go, Mike, you're nuts. And to that I say, yeah, you're right. I am kind of cuckoo. But those are the type of things that do it for me. And I'm going to tell you something else. The backup catcher, I'm out on.
You don't like Stubbsy?
The
Chief Vibes officer?
I don't get because you can win a fan base over by hitting 175 if you slap some overalls on and spray beer around the clubhouse. I don't get that.
Well, I keep hearing, he's also a part of the game plan with the pitchers, and the pitchers feel comfortable with him.
Oh, Jesus. When he plays once every month.
Well, what do you think of that?
Comfortable with him?
You bring up Stubbs. We've talked about this before. He's out of options.
There's no way he should be the best.
Or he's not out of options. Marchand's out of options.
No, Stubbs is. Yeah, Marchand's out of options.
So Stubbs could technically get sent down.
And he will. There's no question in my mind that they're going to keep Marchand. He's a better receiver. He's got a better arm. Stubbs isn't bad as a defensive catcher, but Marchand, I think, is a lot better, and he's a switch hitter, so you don't have to worry about the righty-lefty.
Even if Bryce Harper wants the clubhouse DJ to stay up here?
The clubhouse DJ, Stubbsy.
And if he wants Stubbsy, this organization does what Harper wants.
I got no time for mediocre players who win you over by doing silliness. And it resents me that he wins people over with silliness. People love
I
don't know what it is, but that turns it off for me.
People love him. Yeah. But so your prediction is they will keep Marchand over Stubbs. I think that would be the right decision. I'm not sure that's what they're going to do, though.
Well, I don't know. Why wouldn't they do it? But what? So they would have to release Marchand? Or they would have to trade him? There's no decision there. You would have to get rid of Marchand.
They would have to. Well, they would have to expose him to waivers.
Yeah. Somebody would grab him.
And maybe they will. Until I see it, I'm not going to guarantee that the Philadelphia Phillies move on from Garrett Stubbs because of what I said. I said it facetiously about Harper. They love having Stubbs in that clubhouse. And until I see that they actually will send him down and keep Marshawn here, I'm not going to believe it until I see it.
Now, you're a football man. What football players have given you that kind of reaction where you just, I'm out on that guy?
I was thinking about that during the.
Mostly are the receivers, but there's a lot of running backs that you can put in that category.
Like I was thinking about that during the break of receivers, and one of them who we saw down in New Orleans, who's a nice guy, is Freddie Mitchell. But what he used to annoy me about a little bit was the constant, putting his finger on the clock like it's about time you threw me the football that. Like, come on, man. Like, first of all, you had T.O. on that team.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to be the number one guy.
All due respect, Freddie was a mediocre player. He thought he was better.
Yes. So, he turned me off at times. Now, I understand he has his issues with Donovan and, all that. But, he used to turn me off where it was like, dude, you're not as good as you're acting like you are. You were a first-round draft pick. You should have been even better than you are. Yeah. Relax.
But even guys that turned out to be okay down the road for another team, like Aguilar, I was out on. He did stuff that I was out on.
Now, he won me back.
Mac Hollins was a classic example.
Well, Mac Hollins bothers me now.
Yeah, he did
the whole
shtick,
here,
and now he's like,
And he tries this whole, I think he overplays his weirdness.
Yeah.
Right? He overplays it he's barefoot everywhere. Doesn't use utensils.
This is a very unique
come on,
show
man.
today. We're just going to bounce around and chat because our phones are out. We have texts. We're going to get to them. We have the chat board humming. And we're going to talk some movies a little later because one of the great actors has passed away in a very weird circumstance. His wife and his dog also die in the house in New Mexico. We're talking about Gene Hackman, but we're going to spin that into a movie category. We're going to evaluate the people who everybody thinks are the great actors, the male actors. We're going to evaluate who's better than who and whether Hackman belongs in that upper echelon of movie actors. The Mike Missanelli Show continues on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Tyrone Johnson.
Is this a joke call? Who is he? You would be wrong, but that's okay.
Correct. Hello. This is bad. This is very, very bad.
I'm embarrassed.
I'm the dumbest coach in the world. Hell yeah.
Keep the main thing the main thing.
That sounds like a DNA thing.
That's the funny thing that makes me chuckle.
It's a dumbass question. You don't know basketball.
Love it.
Number 5 will always love you.
Emotional intelligence.
Let's make some noise. Come on.
All right, we're back. Yeah, we went down to get some coffee, and then we were. Somebody always stops you in the hall, and they want to talk, and you don't want to be rude, so you stop and you talk a little bit.
Yeah, how long were we on, Ray?
Yeah, that entire return was about 1.5 minutes, and we had 6 seconds left in that by the time you guys got back on the air.
Oh, well, we apologize.
Sorry about that.
Folks. Yeah, sorry about that. We were talking about people that you just turn off to, and I got no time for them. You know what? One for me for the Sixers was Bang Bang George and Yang.
Bang, bang.
I just couldn't. This minivan, this Bang Bang George and Yang thing for a mediocre player. I'm out. Like, he was one guy I was out on.
Yeah, I'm wondering why more aren't coming to my head, because I know there are some. There's a lot that have annoyed me over the years, and I just can't think of them.
Yeah, they'll pop in your head.
Oh, and there's another one, and I think he annoyed a lot of his teammates too. Was Jason Babin?
Oh yeah,
remember Jason Babin?
Yeah,
with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes.
He had a really good season too. He had a lot of sacks, but there was just something that just always turned me off.
He was buddies with Trent Cole, and they lived in
like Gloucester County, didn't they?
Yeah, it was
Big Hunter. Trent Cole.
Yeah, and so was Babbitt.
He was too. I know Cole's a big time hunter.
And they built some kind of a duck blind, and they would hunt together, Jason Babin and Trent Cole, which was really weird for Trent Cole because he's like he's a black man who's like more country than any white dude from Alabama.
Fletch is too. Fletcher Cox is like that too. Yeah, I guess it depends on where you're from in the South and everything.
Yeah. All right, what's the text board have to say, Ray?
It's funny. The text board, I think, anticipated the topic because before we even really got totally into the Paul George conversation, the first two texts off the jump were, "Well, has Paul George ever shown effort for this team?" And Paul George just came in here to coast, and Mike is absolutely correct about him. He gives no effort.
Yeah, listen, you don't have to be a basketball expert to see it either. I mean, you're talking about a guy who obviously is protecting himself. He's protecting. He's getting paid. He knows this team stinks. He doesn't feel any responsibility to carry the torch for this team. He came here thinking that it would be a better situation. Because it's not, he has bailed on this team. And I go, okay, then you give back the money. That's all I say. If this was the only team that wanted to sign you for that extension and that money. It's the only team. And you don't have any responsibility to play through that? Well, I'm out then. You have shown me your lack of character, and that's why I'm out on certain players.
The problem, though, is I understand that you may be out, and I get the frustration. We're going to have to live with this for another 3 years.
Then I live with it with me being out.
I don't see how you package anything.
The first hole I dug?
No.
Is that the first player I've had to live with where I couldn't stand?
But when we had a caller yesterday who...
Well, Furkan Korkmaz for 6 years.
Korkmaz. People have been mentioning him.
Yeah, Korkmaz, 6 years put me through that.
Yeah, we've been mentioning him in the YouTube chat.
Uh-huh.
But like with Paul George, and we had the caller yesterday say, hey, can you trade Paul George and Joel Embiid together? I don't think people realize how tough these contracts are going to be to move. We're going to have to just grin and bear it for the next 3 seasons. I mean,
also,
Embiid's for 4.
Right up your alley. Any Flyer who can't play but was loved by the fans because he was, I don't know, what, the mucker?
People already said Dan Carcillo in the chat.
Carcillo at the top of my list.
Car bomb!
I mean, people know, Mike, you're wrong. He can buy. I go, what the hell? What kind of eyes did you get? Did you buy eyes at Costco? Like, how in the world do you look at a guy like that and say, boy, he can play?
Speaking of the Fly Guys, if I would have told you that on February 27th, the Philadelphia Flyers would have more wins than the 76ers. People would have told me I was crazy, man.
Yeah, because the Sixers were looking at a 50-plus win season.
Yeah.
Right?
Flyers are 500 right now, 26, 26, and 7, only 5 points back of a playoff spot.
Yeah.
There's a chance back in action tonight against the Penguins.
I love the way you get sucked into Flyerville, man.
I love it.
You're just.
I love more the people that see him as the beacon of light and hope for sports talk radio with Bill. It's just so great you talk about the Flyers. It's so great you bring up the Flyers.
Yeah,
That's more what I enjoy.
He's got his little minions out there, his little Flyer minions.
Yeah. Well,
Thanks for fighting a good fight, Bill.
Exactly.
You see what I've seen for all these years, and nobody else sees.
Mike despises the team. Thanks, Bill, for bringing him up.
When they won on, what was it, Saturday? Was it Saturday? When did they I can't even remember. People were tweeting at me saying, can they get a little love tomorrow on the air?
It was when they won Tuesday night because you tweeted me about playing the horn, and I had to see all the replies saying, Bill, you're just a revolutionary.
Let me ask you a question. This is a sociological question. Because you're a member of this class, I think. What is it about people who grow up in South Jersey who have not paid that much attention to the NBA, but are all about hockey? Like everybody in South Jersey seems to be about hockey at the expense of the NBA. Like it's a battle in their head, and they've turned off to the NBA because it dilutes their hockey.
Well, a part of it is. So, I grew up in South Jersey, and I grew up going to Hollydale, which was run by the Goudreau family. So, Johnny Goudreau's father, Guy, and a lot of kids in South Jersey who were affiliated with the Hollydales of the world and the Coliseum back in the day. It's the same time as basketball. So, like, growing up, me playing ice hockey prevented me from playing basketball. Me being obsessed with the Flyers and watching all the hockey games prevented me from really being obsessed with the 76ers. So I think it's more of, it's not that.
But why couldn't you be a 4-for-4 guy?
You are.
No. Hockey guys from South Jersey look down their nose at the NBA and basketball. If you are primarily a hockey dude, you don't have the other interests.
Well, a part of it, one, I said, is because it's the same time, but I also think a part of it is what PK Subban touched on during the Four Nations, is I think hockey players look at it as you give it your all. You sacrifice your body every single time you're out on the ice. There's a culture when it comes to ice hockey that is different than what you see on the professional basketball courts.
Wait, what? That doesn't explain anything sociologically. We're going to get deeper into this. 610-632-0975. The Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
76ers lose again. I'm right done with this Fanatic Sports Update. It was competitive, at least. The Knicks beat the Sixers 110-105 for the Sixers' ninth straight loss. Jalen Brunson scored 11 of his 34 points in the game's final 4 minutes to lift the Knicks. Post-game, Nick Nurse talked about the struggle of guarding the Knicks guard.
They're trying to do two things with him. I mean, he only took 5 threes tonight. That's pretty good. We try to not have him shoot too many threes, and then our other goal is to not foul him. And I think we bumped him a little bit here and there, but I thought 16 was quite a few tonight for him.
Sixers have 2 days until they host the Warriors on Saturday, as they will attempt to avoid losing 10 straight games. The Flyers go for their 4th straight win tonight as they play the Penguins in Pittsburgh. You can hear the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Phillies in action against the Yankees at 1:05 in Grapefruit League play. Kyle Schwarber batting first. Okay, not a surprise. Playing first base, though. A little bit of a surprise. First time since 2021 he'll be doing that. Mundo Sosa is in left field. Zach Wheeler takes them out. I'm right down on the home, the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
It's 10:55. Mike Missanelli Show. 97.5 The Fanatic.
I used to be dreaming.
Let me ask you a question here. It's really this is a fascinating discussion we're having because I've had this discussion many times during the course of my career on why certain people just don't pay attention to the NBA. Would you agree that like you just said something about PK Subban? Now, what did he say about hockey? And
I actually played the clip.
Merits of hockey.
On Friday, I played the clip. He went on to talk about just when the fans are paying that much money to see you play, you give it all, you give it your all. And then when he talked about the NBA, he talked about how you didn't have this problem when Jordan was there and when Kobe was there, and that it's just a different culture now. That there's too many nights off, that type of thing.
Okay, that might be true. Now, when you talk about nights off, but did he? He said that hockey players work harder. Is that what his notion was? Hockey players work harder than NBA players.
Ray, do we still have that audio?
Yes.
Do you want to hear what he had to say? Because I can't remember now.
Let's hear what PK Subban had to say. Because I'm going to tell you right out of the chute that there is no more athletic sport than basketball. Nobody can top the athleticism and the stamina and the cardiovascular that you need to play basketball. So I'll go right there, and I can explain why that is in a second. But let's hear this PK Subban quote on hockey.
You can step on an NBA floor and go through the emotions. You can't do that in hockey. You can't. The culture of our sport, you have to play it with passion. You have to be willing to fight. You have to be willing to leave it on the ice. That's what fans are investing in. So for us, when we charge $1,500 for a ticket to come to fans know what they're getting. Cale Makar, the best defenseman in the world, wasn't in the lineup for this game. This was the most viewed game that we've had in years. And you see it, it's because it's not just based on the skill and talent. It's based on the pride, honor, playing for the guy next to you. I got a question for the NBA players. What the hell are you playing for? What are you playing for? It's not about the money. You make all the money. What, you're injured? Well, there's a difference between being hurt and injured. Are you hurt or are you injured? There's a difference. In hockey, we play hurt. We play injured. That is the culture of the sport. It's always been that way. So you want to talk about the business, the CBA, fans get all of that. But what do fans resonate with? They resonate with what's real. You got to fight sometimes for your country. You got to compete. You got to go out there and leave it on the ice because those people are paying the price of admission. So fans know whether our stars are on the ice or not, they're getting their money's worth. The NBA has that issue that they got to work on. You got to create a better culture for your players. It starts with the leaders. This issue, there was no issue when Jordan was around. There was no issue when Kobe was around. There's no issue when Sidney Crosby's around. There's no issue when Wayne Gretzky was around because those are true leaders.
All right. First of all, he went way too far by saying you can go through the motions on a basketball court. If you go through the motions, you're exposed to everybody and you're pulled out of the game. Now you can jake it like Paul George, but don't tell me you can go through the motions. You'll get destroyed if you think you can just go through the motions with the athleticism and the speed that the NBA has played at these days.
Well, yeah,
he's talking about guys with load management and stuff like that.
I think he's talking about that. One, he also says you can't go through the emotions. I think he got this expression wrong. But what he's talking about is exactly how we started the show talking about Paul George. Like, would you say that Paul George, when he's been on the court this season, has been giving it his all?
No.
And I think that's what he's referring to.
But he's saying you can go through the motion. No, you can't. You can't go through the motions without people noticing it. You're called out for that. And because it's the most athletic sport, you can't just go through the motions. You got to defend people. You got to get up and down the floor. Listen, all due respect to hockey, and I know they go hard. They go hard for how many? What's the length of their shift?
Oh, it's a minute. But
okay, a minute. Yeah, you go hard for a minute, you get a rest. In the NBA, you got to go up and down a lot more than that.
Why don't you tell us what we're listening to?
You're listening to 97.5 The Fanatics, the Mike Missanelli Show on WPEN and WPEN HD1, a Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station. Bill, see, you had it down and I messed it up. We broadcast from the Comcast Business Studios, powering possibilities.
So back to the conversation. I agree with you that I think basketball players are by far probably the most athletic. I mean, there are football players that are just as good of athletes, not all of them. But when you look across the board of a basketball court, these guys are ridiculous athletes. But what PK Subban's talking about the culture of playing hard every single night, I think we can all agree the NHL plays harder than what the NBA players do.
To an extent. Now, the intensity is ramped way up in the playoffs in the NHL, which makes the NHL probably the best playoffs. So you're talking about going through the motions? You mean to tell me you're playing at that playoff intensity every night in the regular season, even if it's hockey? Stop.
No, they're not. They elevate their game for the playoffs.
Of course they do, and they go a lot harder. So if you're going to make the case that you got to go hard every shift, no, they don't go hard on every shift during the regular season. Maybe they go harder than certain sports, but they don't go hard every shift because you would have had the same playoff intensity for every regular season game. Look, these players look at the regular season as a means to get to the playoffs. So whether they jake it, they do it silently, or they do it where you can't see it. So PK Subban went way overboard with that.
But the other problem too,
listen. I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to bolster hockey.
Of course,
I get it.
Of course, but the other problem too, when he talks about the money and he says, "What are you guys playing for? It's not the money." The NBA players are making ridiculously more money than what your best NHL players are. So it's also, there's a big difference there.
Because the revenue comes in higher.
Exactly.
If the NHL could bring in the revenue, and one of the suggestions that I would say is stop the freaking fighting because it makes the sport a joke, that maybe you get some revenue.
Yeah, I don't agree with you on that.
All right. Okay.
I don't agree with you on that.
Of course you don't. Because you were brought up to be a hockey player, and fighting it's necessary, and it does. Because that's that same mindset that you grow up with as a hockey fan. The same mindset I had growing up, by the way, until I did something like I hit puberty, and then
Ray, have you hit puberty yet?
Really, man? You're losing an argument this bad to Mike, and you have to take a shot at me?
Wait, how am I losing an argument? I don't agree with Mike when it comes to.
Because you're a hockey worshiper.
You tried to dodge that fight by taking a shot at me, and I'm not going to let that happen. You go back in there and you go take that fight.
All right, Ray, you're right. I'm coming back.
I understand your mindset. You're a South Jersey white guy who grew up loving and playing hockey. And in doing that, the NBA became the enemy to you.
It was not the enemy.
Dude, it's primarily the enemy to people who like hockey.
For me, it was probably different.
Very few crossovers. If hockey is your top sport, the NBA is way down on your list.
Well, because, again, it's at the same time. Now, look, they're not my enemy. When they had Allen Iverson, I went to almost every game.
You multitask every day here. It's at the same time.
Not very well.
You can't multitask the NBA and the NHL?
I don't multitask very well, Mike. That's why I'm always distracted from our YouTube chat. I'm always distracted.
All right, what's the text board saying, right? We got any texts?
We do. We got some people giving the athletes that they were sick of by the end of their run.
Yeah.
We got... This is Tom in Northeast Philly. The DeMarco Murray, Chris Webber, Jonathan Papelbon, Brizgalov, Greg Jeffries. My God, he is really sick of a lot of people.
Greg Jeffries everybody has him on their list.
Scott Rowland.
He was annoying. Yeah. Snotty Rowland. Oh, yeah.
But see, these that he's given us
Snotty
are
Rowland
more...
goes to the Hall of Fame, and we hated him.
Yeah. But these are more... This guy hates them more because either they were busts when they were here or like Rowland wanted out.
No, but here's what Rowland did. And some people never forgot it. He agreed to be benched on Scott Rowland Day.
That's right.
Really? That's the little thing that you go, dude, really? I'm out with this guy. It's like seeing Bohm throw a helmet. I'm all right, I'm out. One thing could trigger that with this fan base. Because it triggers me.
Yeah, I wonder how many people did they ever forgive Ricky Waters for who for what, even though he actually played pretty well that season.
Scott Rowland did something to me too.
Oh yeah, I don't know this story.
I got when I was doing I was the TV guy, WB17, and I was doing I would do these shtick films every now and then, and I got Schilling to participate in this shtick film where he was pitching to me and I hit a home run. We were going to splice it and edit it and the whole bit, and I'm supposed to meet. I had to go on the air at 4, I think. So I'm supposed to meet him in the clubhouse at like 2 or 2:30. And so I get to the dugout. I get to the clubhouse. I couldn't go in at that time. I'm waiting in the dugout for him, and he doesn't come. Yeah, it's 2:30, 3. I got to get about 3:30. I got to get going. I get to the studio and do the show, but it starts at 4:00, right? So I find out later that Scott Rowland gave him a bunch of crap for being too friendly with a sports media guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, was that directed at you individually or just the media as a whole?
Media in general, but he knew it was me.
Had you ripped Rowland before?
Probably.
That doesn't sound like you.
No, that's not Mike.
Are we sure?
Yeah, probably. Well, what the hell? I got to do what I got to do, bro.
Yeah.
I probably ripped him for not saying I'm playing on Scott Rowland Day. They're giving out Scott Rowland bobbleheads. I'm not going to be in the lineup? What, are you kidding me? They used to bench him on Sundays, but he always had the option to say, nah, I'm playing today. I got to play today.
Yeah, Scott Rowland Day. Probably should play Scott Rowland on that day. Yeah. The Brizgalov one, keeping it with hockey for a second, that one was a disaster of a signing because you also had to then trade away Bobrovsky, who turned out to be an unbelievable goaltender.
There's so many hockey players that come to my mind, and you've heard the story of Trent Klatt with me, right?
No, I never heard the Klatt
the
story.
Other side, well, see, what I loathed was markers and grinders that people overvalued.
I think you were number 20, if I'm not mistaken.
I couldn't stand it. Like, what are you watching here? Like, they love these type of guys. And I go, these are the type of guys that just they don't make a difference in winning. They're just guys, right? So I'll tell you what I did with Trent Klatt. The people that have been listening to me for these years know this story, but I'll repeat it after the break. 610-622-0975 back after this.
The Philadelphia 76ers
We're not going to be able to take calls until we say we can take calls. So we're just kind of like having conversations, random conversations today. It's a random conversation day. And so one of the conversations that we're having is about players that you just bail out on. And then this has led to a discussion about hockey and basketball and the whole thing. Let me just tell you my history, Bill, because I grew up in the throes of the 70s Flyers, where the style to all of us was really appealing. They were muckers and grinders. They hit. They fought. They had a great goaltender. They had a guy who was a relentless worker in Bobby Clarke. That all appealed to what Philadelphia was about, right? And they went 2 Stanley Cups, and they actually triggered winning in Philadelphia. It had been a really desolate, non-winning era, and the Flyers re-triggered winning. So I have a fondness in my heart for that. But then as I kind of grew up, and then after that, I would actually cover hockey for a newspaper because I was so into hockey, and I wanted that beat. And so I covered the Flyers, and slowly but surely, I started to see the Flyers continue with this style that was becoming archaic in the NHL. The transition of the NHL was now, well, speed and skill, really, what wins, and not mucking and grinding. And the Flyers, for some reason, stayed to the template of mucking and grinding. And one of the chief muckers and grinders that they ever had was this guy. I think they got him, I don't know where they got him, maybe from Minnesota.
Who, Trent Klatt?
Trent Klatt. I think he went to the University of Minnesota. He did?
Yeah, then they played with Minnesota, and then when they moved to Dallas, he was there for a year.
Okay. So they got him from, and people, so he was like the quintessential mucker and grinder. And then now I'm on Sports Talk Radio, and I hated him because it was now offensive to me that the Flyers were still mucking and grinding when skill was winning, right? So there was this guy who loved them, and not only did he love him, but he knew I hated him, so he would call every week to remind me about what Trent Klatt did in the day. Did you see Klatter last night? He made 4 deflections and blah, blah, blah. And I go, and he goes, I go, dude, come on with this. He goes, I'm telling you, Mike, he's going to score 20 goals. I go, if Trent Klatt scores 20 goals, I'll buy you groceries once a week for 2 months.
Well, did you do it? Because I think he had 24 goals.
Well, wait a minute. Let me tell you the story. He's got 17 going into a final weekend against the Pittsburgh. They're playing the Penguins. Son of a gun, he scores a hat trick.
Yeah, he had a
hat trick to get to 20 goals. Before my eyes, this nightmare is happening. He scores 1. He scores 2. He scores 3 to get to 20. This guy, Ronnie, his name was, he calls me up. And you got the groceries. So I go, all right, dude, you're right. I said that on the air. I got to buy you groceries. So I actually, with my own money, bought the guy groceries, a bag of groceries every week. However, the groceries were my choice. So I would buy stuff like tripe, borscht, like stuff like the oddest stuff I could find in a grocery store to fill a bag of groceries. I would present to him every week. Finally, after 4 weeks, he calls me, goes, listen, can we call off this bet? I can't use any of this stuff you're buying me.
Well, that was a bad year to make the bet because I'm looking at his career. Klatt only had 1 season with more than 20 goals.
Stunk.
And it was that year.
And he's a good player, Mike. I go, where are you seeing that he's a good player? Well, he digs in the corners. I go, this is the problem with Flyer fans. You worship this digging in the corner crap while the rest of the league is way ahead of you.
Man, he played almost 800 career games.
One of the reasons why they haven't won a Stanley Cup in 50 years, they shirked like 30 years worth of mucking and grinding.
Well, yeah, Ed Snyder, God rest his soul. Oh, he was very tied to the old way of doing things and thought that was the way. And for many years, they kept trying to go for it with these short-term fixes and these bigger players, and it just never worked out. But right now, you know what else they didn't do, Mike, before, is they would never get Russian players, and that's gone out the door now. You remember that whole thing? They would never, Bobby Clarke, when he was in charge, they would never go after Russian players. Right. And now they got one of the best in the world in beach golf.
And that soured me on the whole deal. So that's why people say, you're anti-hockey. I go, listen, I was pro-hockey, And it's just like this nonsense of the mucking and grinding, the principle of mucking and grinding, just made me nuts.
But when you talk to me about well, why weren't you obsessed with basketball as a kid like you are with hockey?
Yeah.
One, I played hockey, right? But the other major difference was, and I think there are a lot of kids my age, the Sixers stunk, Mike. Not that the Flyers were good, but if you were a hockey player, at least you connected with hockey because you played it. The Sixers were not good when I was growing up. They got good when they got AI, and then I became obsessed with the Sixers. I went to almost every game during the AI eras. But when I was a kid, they were not a good basketball team.
Yeah, but that doesn't answer your non-affection for the game itself. See, I played basketball, and I was a big hockey guy. So that rationale doesn't apply at all.
Well, I didn't start playing basketball until middle school. Like, I played hockey from when I was about 5 years old.
Well, people usually start at middle school. What's
what I'm saying. Difference? But that's when I started to appreciate the sport. When I was a kid, I was playing hockey at 5. And my uncles played. I don't think
you do appreciate the sport. I don't think that you followed the NBA in all those formative years. Like Ray and I.
I follow it, but I probably followed the NHL closer.
Ray and I love basketball, right, Ray?
I do enjoy basketball.
Yeah, I mean, look, for me, NFL is king. Like, that's my main focus. I'm obsessed with the NFL. I follow the other sports, but yeah, if I'm probably ranking them, the NBA would be
way down
4.
on your list.
Yeah, maybe number 4.
Now, how could that be 4 on your list? For me, the great tradition in basketball that Philadelphia has had, even though you
I've never seen
born,
it.
Okay, but you know about it. Like I didn't see the 66-67 Sixers, and they're considered one of the greatest teams of all time, which triggered like the 76er fever in this town.
Yeah, but the 76ers, you got to live through the 83 championship.
When were you born?
I was born a week after they won the championship in 83.
Okay. But you still, I guess you didn't appreciate Joyce Irving years.
No, I never got to appreciate that.
Unfortunately for you, Dana Barrow, you were in the Dana Barrows era.
We had a very rough time. I mean, look, we had a few years of Barkley.
Yeah, but then Iverson pops on the scene. How old were you when Iverson pops on the scene?
Oh, dude, I was obsessed with the Sixers. I went to every game when Iverson was there. I was in high school. That was when we were talking yesterday about the Jermaine Jones. Like, I loved that whole era of basketball here with Eric Snow and Larry Brown and all that. Like, I was obsessed with the Sixers. So, like, what I'm saying is that when I look at the sports, yeah, the NBA may be 4th, but it doesn't mean I don't pay attention. Like, I watch basketball. I suffered through that whole game last night thinking, man, they're making a run. They're making a comeback. And then seeing Paul George with 5 turnovers in the second half.
So basketball didn't win you over from hockey being a South Jersey white dude because they stunk.
Well, when you say win me over, like what do you prefer, baseball or basketball?
That's hard. It's really difficult for me. And I know people say, well, it's got to be baseball for him. Nah, it's a tie. Probably a tie. 610-632-0975 back after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
76ers lose again. I'm Ray Dunn. This update's brought to you by Worldwide Stereo, trading used audio and video gear with Worldwide Stereo's new trading program. Get the best possible trading allowance on new equipment. Visit worldwidestereo.com/upgrade or stop in store to find out what your gear is worth. It was competitive, at least. The Knicks beat the 76ers 110-105 for the Sixers' 9th straight loss. Jalen Brunson scored 11 of his 34 points in the game's final 4 minutes to lift the Knicks to victory. Post-game, Nick Nurse talked about the struggle of guarding Brunson.
They're trying to do 2 things with him. I mean, he only took 5 threes tonight. That's pretty good. We try to not have him shoot too many threes, and then our other goal is to not foul him. And I think yeah, we bumped him a little bit here and there, but I thought 16 was quite a few tonight for him.
Sixers have 2 days to host the Warriors on Saturday. They'll attempt to avoid losing 10 straight games. Flyers go for the 4th win in a row tonight as they play the Penguins in Pittsburgh. You can hear the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Phillies are in action in the Grapefruit League against the Yankees at 105. Kyle Schwarber leading off and playing first base today for the Phils. Edmundo Sosa out there in left field. Zach Wheeler taking them out. And this update's also brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. This tax season is free phone season with Straight Talk. Get real unlimited data on a reliable 5G network. Straight Talk available at Walmart or straighttalk.com. I'm Ray Dunn, the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
7:25, Mike Missanelli Show. We're going to talk about Robo umpires in a bit. We're going to get to more of the tush-push feedback. We're going to continue the podcast DNP, who now is really focused. Last night, he was a little more focused, but he lost me. And so that led to a discussion on players that lose you and all this stuff. So we're having a fun time today just discussing stuff. So let's discuss another thing. This has nothing to do with sports. This has to do with the passing of a great actor named Gene Hackman at age 95. Now, the circumstances are very weird because he died in the house in New Mexico with his wife and the dog. Now, no foul play is suspected, but the only thing I can think of is that maybe there was some kind of gas leak of some sort.
You would think maybe like a carbon monoxide type thing, or
radon, or like something like that.
Because the fact that the dog died too, that's the weirder part.
You can take that to another level if you want, but I prefer not to. I think it was planned that they did that. Maybe it was accidental. I don't know. But in any event, it started to get me thinking about movies. Now, Gene Hackman, my question is to people who are movie fans, would he be a top 10 actor of all time? And my answer to that is yes, he would.
Top 10?
Yeah, let me just go down a list of the movies. And then I want to compare it to some of the great actors. Like, if you talk about the great actors off the top of your head, which one comes to your head? Which ones? De Niro comes to your head. Pacino comes to your head. Hanks comes to a lot of people's head. Not me, but a lot of people. Nicholson, Daniel Day-Lewis, Denzel Washington, Brando, Leonardo DiCaprio. Like, you can make the list in your head. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down the list of all these actors and their movies to see if Hackman measures up. So let's first go with Hackman. French Connection was his first monster role, Oscar-winning role.
I've actually seen that movie, even though it's back in the 70s.
Tremendous thriller.
Early
movie, yeah, where he's Popeye Doyle, the detective going after this French ring of drug imports, the whole thing. All right, Unforgiven. Oscar-winning movie.
Which I've never seen.
Really?
Yes, I got to watch
Where
that.
he was the nasty sheriff, Little Bill.
Yeah, I've heard it's incredible.
Very good role. Crimson Tide.
Another good one.
Where he was the admiral. There was a mutiny with Denzel.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Hoosiers. Norman Dale.
Obviously, yeah.
Mississippi Burning. Have you seen this?
I have not seen Mississippi Burning.
Tremendous. With what's the guy?
Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe, correct. The Royal Tenenbaums, which was quirky.
I didn't like that.
It was what? Because it was too quirky.
Yeah, not my style.
But he was brilliant in it. How about these two from back in the day where he played the president? Absolute Power with Clint Eastwood.
Good movie.
And No Way Out with Kevin Costner.
I loved that.
One of the most underrated movies ever.
No Way Out was a phenomenal movie that I watched definitely at too young of an age. Because it came out in 87.
Yes.
I think I watched it when I was like 5 or 6 years old.
All right, how about The Replacements?
Oh, he's the coach. I don't know. That's kind of a dumb movie, though.
It's a dumb movie, but he was good in it, wasn't he?
He was good in it.
All right, how about The Firm?
Firm's another good one. He's in that? That's right. He is in that.
He's the guy that was palling around with Tom Cruise. He was the crooked lawyer. His protege.
That's right. He is in that.
Enemy of the State with Will Smith.
Another good one.
All right, just off the top of my head.
What about a good comedic role, The Birdcage?
Yeah.
You didn't like that movie?
Nah.
I thought The Birdcage was pretty good.
It wasn't my type of movie.
I'm trying to think of some other ones of his. He was Superman. He was the villain in Superman.
Yes, he was. Tremendous.
Right?
By the way, in that.
Lex Luger.
That's right. He was Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor. Lex Luger's the wrestler.
Yeah,
Lex Luger's the wrestler.
Lex Luthor. That's right.
Yeah. Now, I'm just looking up some. I can't remember if I saw this or not. The Conversation.
I didn't see The Conversation.
Conversation is up there as one of his top movies.
Is it?
That was a Francis Ford Coppola movie.
Yeah, I don't think it was great. I think that got panned.
It got good reviews, man.
It did?
Critics gave it an 88 on IMDb.
Yeah, I don't think the public gave it. That's like a critic movie. The critics like.
Yeah, a paranoid, secretive surveillance expert has a crisis of conscience when he suspects that the couple he is spying on will be murdered. The Conversation.
Yeah, it's a good premise. I don't think it did well at the box office, though. All right, so let's just measure those against. So this is a mismatch, but De Niro.
Nah, De Niro's got to be a
all right, so here's De Niro. Let's just do some De Niro here. So we'll go way back. Taxi Driver. Casino. Raging Bull.
Yeah, that alone, those three alone could put him above Hackman.
Goodfellas. Heat. The Irishman.
Bronx Tale.
Bronx Tale, which you love.
Love that movie.
Yeah, the Fockers. I don't know.
The whole Meet the Parents thing. He was great in that.
Yeah,
he was great.
Yeah, Once Upon a Time in America. One of my top 5 movies of all time, Deer Hunter. Oh,
Deer Hunter. Did you mention Godfather yet?
Fantastic.
Godfather 2 yet?
Godfather 2.
I mean,
yeah, it blows him away.
Yeah, De Niro's on a different level.
And you go back to Midnight Run, which was also brilliant, where he played. It was like his first foray into kind of comedy.
Underrated movie, Awakenings.
Yeah, Awakenings.
They made us watch that in philosophy class in college.
Yeah, so it doesn't measure up to De Niro, right? So now let's go to Pacino. Should we go to Al? Let's go to Al.
I think Al's got him too.
Al hasn't done anything significant in a really long time, but you have to go. You go back, and obviously you go Godfather, which is to 1 and 2, brilliant in. You can go to Serpico, where he was also brilliant in. A Dog Day Afternoon. Oh my God, dude, these are monstrous movies. Scarface is silly, but.
Scarface is a classic, though.
Glenn Ross, which is an underrated movie.
Always Be Closing.
Yes. Donnie Brasco.
Great in that one, too.
Yeah. The Insider with Russell Crowe. And then it kind of tails off, to be honest with you. Yeah, like a modern day movie. Like, give me a modern day movie that you remember him from. That was really good.
Yeah, when you say modern day, it's been a while.
Kind of run out.
What'd you think of him as a football coach in any given Sunday?
Yeah, a lot of people like that movie. I didn't like it that much, but yeah, I mean, he was a good performer. And Tony D'Amato.
Oh, another good one
coach.
I liked of his, The Devil's Advocate. I like that movie.
I'm a fan of man.
Yeah, I like that.
Or you can go to that silly movie where you go hoo-ha,
Son of a Woman.
Son of a Woman.
Yes. Now, he's had a good run. You're right. It hasn't been as recent.
Way back when, in Justice for All, where he was a lawyer.
Did you give him heat, too? I know you said De Niro.
You're out of order. He's out of order. The whole trial is out of order.
Did you give him heat? We gave it to De Niro. But.
Yeah, heat. Oh, he's brilliant in the heat.
Yeah.
You know what they're looking at? Us. Yeah, they're looking at us. Yeah.
All right, so you got De Niro and Pacino above Hackman.
Oh, then no question.
Not even close.
Yeah. So now... We'll take a break. We have a break coming? 36 we have a break, right? All right, so let's go to Tom Hanks.
You don't like Tom Hanks, man.
I want to see if you can make a determination that Hanks' movies are better than Hackman's. Yeah. All right, so let's go to the Hanks specials. All right, now
Philadelphia.
All right, Philadelphia. Good performance in Philadelphia.
Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Didn't he win Best Actor for Forrest Gump? Castaway. Green Mile. Saving Private Ryan.
All right, Philadelphia is Saving Private Ryan, and I'll go Gump. Because I could have done that role with a fake voice, but I'll go Gump because he won. All right, now, but really, after that, I want you to give me stuff that blew you away. That you go, man, he was great.
Captain Phillips. I thought he was phenomenal in that movie. Captain Phillips was a great movie. I thought Catch Me If You Can with Leo Capps.
Well, with that fake voice, it was like a parody voice he was using in that.
He was good in that.
It wasn't even realistic.
He was great in A League of Their Own. He was great in Apollo 13. You also got to give him credit. He's the voice of Woody in all the Toy Stories.
No, you don't have to give him credit.
Got to give him credit.
About as a straight actor. I'm telling you that his body of work doesn't come close to what Hackman's done in his life.
Oh, that one's close, man. I don't know. I think I'm giving the nod. Nothing against Gene Hackman. I think I'm giving the nod to Tom Hanks.
He's done 3 significant movies. He's in a lot of movies, and people like him because he's a likable guy, but the significance of his movies doesn't resonate.
But when you talk about Gene Hackman, what's his most recent big hit? Is it Unforgiven?
Yeah. Unforgiven. He's 95. What's Brando? You have to go way back with Brando.
True. I don't know. I
think
think
what would be a good comparison. First of all, I think he blows Hanks away. Okay, I'll tell you right now. I think he blows him away. Good the comparison would be DiCaprio against Hanks.
I think Leo blows him away too. I think DiCaprio is a phenomenal actor.
All right, just a little side argument, side topic. Text board maybe has some offerings on this as well.
Yeah, people are checking in on this because they're also saying that he was great in Sully, Tom Hanks.
Oh, come on.
It's a good movie.
Oh, stop. 610-632-0975. Sully. You're going to give me Sully against these great movies that we're talking about?
It's one of many.
The Mike Missanelli Show continues after this.
Andrew Salciunas.
7:40, Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5, The Fanatic. We have no phones today, so we're just making this show a general conversation about various topics. We started off with the podcast DMP situation and players that you just lose in your head. We morphed that into other topics. We're going to talk about the Robo. I'm coming up. We also have the News at Noon coming up at 12 o'clock. And we're into a movie topic now. And just to go back to the text board and the chat board, see what they're saying. This is my example of Tom Hanks. Road to Perdition. Somebody said, he's great in Road to Perdition. How in the world can you buy Tom Hanks as a hitman in Road to Perdition? How in the world do you see him pulling off the role of a hitman?
No.
When he's in such silly-ass movies, like these romantic comedies, all of a sudden he's a hitman? You're going to jam him down my throat as a hitman.
I agree with you. I hated Road to Perdition, and I did not buy Tom Hanks as a hitman. But I also don't think that he's just in romantic comedies. Like, Castaway was phenomenal. He's great in A League of Their Own. He's great in Forrest Gump. I don't think Forrest Gump you would say is a romantic comedy per se. Green Mile, he's phenomenal in.
He's not phenomenal in Green Mile. He's okay in Green Mile.
What about Saving Private Ryan?
He's been good. I told you, there's 3 movies that I will give him credit for. And Gump, I do it half-heartedly. His 2 best performances were Philadelphia and Saving Private Ryan. And that's it. The rest of them fall in line. Like, okay, he's a nice actor. He does pleasant movies. Everybody enjoys his movies. He's not that great of an actor. When he does accents, it comes off as phony. Like that. Catch Me If You Can. That accent is terrible.
He's good in that. Have you seen Captain Phillips?
I've seen a little of it.
Right.
I just didn't like the movie enough to go through it.
It's a phenomenal.
Now, are you going to put that volleyball movie in there that he was great in?
What movie was he in? What volleyball
The
movie?
volleyball movie. What's it called? Where he was the Wilson, the volleyball.
Oh, Castaway.
Castaway.
Phenomenal movie. Dude, he carries the entire movie basically by himself.
All right, I'll give him Castaway.
What a volleyball.
But it's not in the same breath as the great. I say he's a good actor. He's not a great actor. People go, you hate Tom Hanks. I don't hate him. I give him credit. Philadelphia, he was good in. Really good. Private Ryan, good. Road to Perdition is a hitman. Catch Me If You Can with the fake Boston accent that he couldn't pull off. The Post, where I was really involved, and I really wanted to like that movie where he's playing Ben Bradley, because that's my era of why I wanted to be a journalist in the first place, the Watergate investigation. He's doing Ben Bradley with a Boston accent. Ben Bradley didn't have a Boston accent.
I never saw that movie. What about
Meryl Streep was in it.
What about Charlie Wilson's War? He was good in that.
Oh, God, would you stop? Charlie Wilson's War?
What about Dragnet back in the 80s with Dan Aykroyd?
Stop it. See, now you're busting my stones. Let's get to the text board here and the chat board. The chat board is what produced Road to Perdition. If you could possibly think he was good in Road to Perdition, I got to have a conversation with you. We got to have coffee together. Because that's like the most opposite view you could ever possibly have, that he was good in Road to Perdition. What we got, Ray?
We got a first-time texter, Scott from Newtown. The problem with Tom Hanks is he's Tom Hanks in every movie. Compared to Gary Oldman, he has every role he plays. Like Mike said,
I forgot about Gary Oldman. He's another actor that would go in the pecking order ahead of Hanks.
Yes, Oldman and Hackman were a tier above for Scott.
There you go. That's a smart guy who texted in.
Nah.
Forgot Gary Oldman, for crying out loud.
Look, De Niro, Pacino, we haven't gotten to DiCaprio yet, but they're above Hanks. I'm not putting Hanks on their level, but I don't know. I'm putting Hanks above Hackman and Oldman.
You got to be kidding me. Gary, you got to look at Gary Oldman's resume. All right, let's go to DiCaprio. What would you say is his best role?
Leonardo DiCaprio. I mean, I loved him in Wolf of Wall Street.
Okay. That's one of his best, but I wouldn't put that as his best. How about The Revenant?
Revenant, he was phenomenal.
How about Django Unchained?
Phenomenal.
Yeah, he was phenomenal in that.
Inception was a great movie, too.
That's too spooky for me.
Inception was phenomenal.
That's too crazy.
Catch Me If You Can, again, he played a good role in that. I know a lot of people liked him in Titanic. He was still a kid.
Yeah. He's only got a few also. You know?
Yeah, I'm trying to look back.
He was a child actor, and he did Romeo and Juliet back then. He did the
Basketball Diaries. Yeah, that was a crazy movie.
Boy's Life with De Niro.
Oh, he was good in Gangs of New York, too.
Yeah, he was.
Going back to that with Daniel Day.
Yeah. But his great movies are on a short list.
The Departed.
I still would not put him ahead of Hackman.
Had you ever seen Shutter Island?
No, Departed is his best role.
Have you ever seen Shutter Island? I know you're not like a horror movie guy.
I don't do that.
That's a great movie. It really is.
You and your great movies. Don't you think you overvalue these movies that you're bringing up?
Right.
Great movie?
Have you ever seen Shutter Island?
Shutter Island. Great movie. That's what you just said.
Why would you go to me trying to defend a movie?
All right, Shutter Island. What did it get from on IMDb here? 63.
All right. Yeah, come on.
8.2 from users. 8.2 out of 10.
Hackman is ahead of DiCaprio.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, come on. I just gave you. There's only a handful of great movies that he's done. He's a nice actor. A handful of movies that he's done. The Revenant is great. Departed is great. The one that you said that you liked.
Inception?
Yeah, Inception. Yeah.
Wolf of Wall Street?
Wolf of Wall Street. You like that one. Yeah, that movie was just insane.
Oh, and I got my...
What you getting buzzed?
Yeah, my wife's very upset with you on your Captain Phillips take because she loves that movie, loves Tom Hanks. Yeah. She's just right to me. Who doesn't think Tom Hanks is a great actor?
He's not a great actor. He's a good actor. He's not great. We just talked about who are great actors. De Niro, Pacino, Jack Nicholson. These are great actors.
We haven't talked about Nicholson.
We haven't talked to Jack. You want to go into Jack?
We could, because one of my favorites of all time, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Okay. Let's go to Jack. You got to go way back, because Jack has probably more than anybody, if you're talking about great movies, great performances in great movies. Let's start with Chinatown, way back in the day, with one of his first ones. How about One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
Phenomenal.
How about The Shining?
Another great.
How about Reds? You probably didn't see Reds, but he was brilliant in Reds. It was like a 4-hour movie.
Never saw it.
All right, Terms of Endearment, which you will cry at. That makes me weep, that movie.
A Few Good Men, he was great in.
A Few Good Men. The Crossing Guard was the underrated movie. Mars Attacks.
Yeah, he wasn't. As Good as It Gets, great movie.
Yeah, About Schmidt was an underrated movie. The Departed, obviously, was one of his best. I mean, his resume just blows people away.
Yeah, Nicholson's up there. For sure.
All right.
He hasn't done anything in a while, has he?
So is he is Hanks in the De Niro, Pacino, Nicholson realm so far?
No, I would say he's tier 2.
Okay. You want to go to Denzel Washington?
Denzel's tier 1.
All right. Let's go to Denzel Washington. Let's start out with what's the first movie that pops up with Denzel Washington? Because for me, it goes back to 1984. In A Soldier Story.
Glory?
Glory was fantastic with Matthew Broderick.
That is a great movie.
Malcolm X. He was fantastic in. How about Ricochet?
I remember that movie.
With John Lithgow as the villain. Yeah. The Pelican Brief. Crimson Tide.
Training Day.
He Got Game.
Yeah, he's got quite a resume.
Yeah, Training Day. John Q. American Gangster. Come on, man. Come on.
Remember the Titans?
Come on now. Remember the Titans. Now, he hasn't done anything significant lately.
He did Gladiator 2, but
yeah,
that wasn't a great movie.
It wasn't a great movie. All right, so there's another one that goes ahead of him. So is Hanks a top 5? No. This is my point. He's not in the top 5, which means he's a good actor, not a great actor.
Yeah, but I wouldn't even put Hackman in the top 5.
Hackman is a better actor than Hanks.
Not in the top 5.
Yes, he is.
Not if you go De Niro, Pacino, Denzel, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Jack Nicholson. There's 5 right there.
Leonardo is not in my top 5.
So you're putting Hackman above Leo.
Daniel Day-Lewis is in the top 5. We haven't even gotten to him yet.
Major character actor, that guy.
Fantastic actor. All right, let's take a break. On the other side, I want to talk about robo-umps. A lot of people say, Mike, you're a traditionalist. You don't like all these changes. I love the changes they're making to baseball. In fact, I instituted this robo-ump idea like 15 years ago. Mike Missanelli Show. We're back after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
76ers lose again. I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update. At least it was competitive. The Knicks beat the 76ers 110-105 for the Sixers' 9th straight loss last night. Jalen Brunson scored 11 of his 34 points in the game's final 4 minutes to lift the Knicks to victory. Post-game, Nick Nurse talked about the struggles of guarding Jalen Brunson.
They're trying to do two things with him. I mean, he only took 5 threes tonight. That's pretty good. We try to not have him shoot too many threes, and then our other goal is to not foul him. And I think yeah, we bumped him a little bit here and there, but I thought 16 was quite a few tonight for him.
Sixers have 2 games till they host the Warriors on Saturday, and they will attempt to avoid losing 10 straight games. Flyers looking for their 4th straight win tonight. They play the Penguins out in Pittsburgh. You can hear the game right here on the Fanatic. Phillies in action. Spring trading, of course. Grapefruit League action against the Yankees today at 1:05. Kyle Schwarber batting first in the lineup today and playing first base. Mundo Sosa is in left field. Zach Wheeler on the mound. This update is brought to you by Jackson Hewitt. It matters who does your taxes. Want expert tax prep? Jackson Hewitt will give you $100 to switch. Limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com. I'm Ray Dunn, the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
7:55, Mike Missanelli Show. Coming up at noon, the news at noon. Ray Dunn was busy. Was busy assembling this. I think we got some sound from Podcast DMP for the news at noon. One other quick thing about the movie, Denzel Washington movie. You've never seen A Soldier Story, right?
I don't think I have seen that movie.
Do yourself a favor and see it. It's first of all, it's written by a Philadelphia guy.
A Soldier's Story.
A Soldier's Story. It's written by. They've turned this into a Broadway play as well. The author of the story is written by Charles Fuller, who's a Philadelphia guy. In fact, Charles's brother, I think, played basketball for Drexel. Walt Fuller, back in the day. But anyway, Charles Fuller wrote this story about a black soldier, an evil black sergeant who is commanding a black regiment in the Deep South, is killed, returning back to his base. And it's his investigation by a black Army investigator who is played by Harold Rollins, who comes to this remote military base in Louisiana to solve this mysterious murder. It's really good.
A Soldier's Story.
It's one of Denzel's early movie, if not his first movie.
Yeah, I'm looking back in 1984.
Yes. It's on occasionally. You'll see it on TV. Tremendously well done.
Yeah, Denzel's not even the main character.
No, Adolph Caesar is, who played the evil sergeant, the rough and tumble sergeant,
and Howard Rollins.
And Howard Rollins. Yeah, Denzel is David Allen Greer's in it. There's all you'll recognize most of the actors who played the soldiers in this movie.
Even Patti LaBelle's in it.
Yes.
I'm looking at the cast.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I bring that up just because the Philadelphia guy wrote it. So, there you go. All right, so what do we got on the text board these days, Ray?
We got people defending Gene Hackman, saying definitely top 10. Didn't even get into some of the movies that he was best in. This is from Jasper, Bonnie and Clyde, Uncommon Valor. We're getting also into Denzel, talking about the Equalizer movies, Fences. So Jasper has a lot of movie takes for you.
Yeah, so here's it is, folks. This explains my take on Tom Hanks. Because I know you people think that I hate him, which I don't. I just said he's not in the top tier. The top tier for me would be top 5. He's not close to top 5. In fact, I just did it, and I've got him 9th at best. If you think DiCaprio is ahead of him, that pushes him to 9th.
So you have Hanks at 9th.
I got De Niro, Pacino, not in no particular order. Nicholson, Gary Oldman, Hackman. I got Denzel in the 4th hole. Oldman 5, Hackman 6, Daniel Day-Lewis 7, DiCaprio 8, Hanks 9. Off the top of my head. Now, does that mean he's an upper echelon actor? No, it means he's a good actor. He's not a great actor.
Did you say Daniel Day in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Daniel Day's ahead of him.
Yeah, so some people are weighing in on the YouTube chat too, and I got a text from one of my buddies about Samuel L. Now, Samuel L. Jackson's been in a lot of great movies, but I always looked at him as more of like the supporting actor.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
He would not be in my top 10.
No, he can't. He's not carrying a movie alone necessarily. People are talking about Sean.
Morgan Freeman would be more of a candidate for a top 10 than
Morgan's been great. Yeah, Morgan's been in a lot of good movies. People are saying Sean Connery on the text board too.
Yeah.
Welcome to The Rock.
Not a great. Listen, as Bond, fantastic early in his career. Not many other memorable movies for Sean Connery, except The Untouchables.
Yeah,
which he was really good in. But I wouldn't put him as a top 10.
Yeah, people are talking about Brad Pitt. Pitt's not up there.
Underrated actor. I think Pitt and Tom Cruise are both underrated actors, but they don't snap to my mind as top 10 right away. We didn't even put Brando in the top 10 for crying out loud, you know.
Stella.
So Brando will be ahead of Hanks. That pushes Hanks to 10th at best.
Now, who's your favorite actor, Mike? I know we're giving the list. Who's your favorite?
De Niro is my favorite. De Niro can play any part. It's like, you know, when you see the scene in Heat, because people say, well, Pacino. Now, when they're at the diner and they're sitting at the table, you can tell who the better actor is. De Niro steals that scene away from Pacino when they're both going head to head, when they're talking about, you know, the whole thing. Well, brother, if it's between you and somebody I'm going to make a widow, you're going down. And then he goes, yeah, there's another side to that coin. Right? And you just know his expressions, his expression in Goodfellas, where they play, they're playing the music in the background. He's got the cigarette, and he knows he's going to kill Maury.
Yes.
And he's looking sinister, like just the look. Just he got the cigarette, just the look makes him a better actor.
He's been good. What are we listening to?
It is WPEN and WPDN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group station, broadcasting from the Comcast Business Studios, empowering possibilities. It is noontime. Happy lunchtime to everybody on a day where we can't take any phone calls because our system is down, but we can still chat with you. And part of our chat today includes a little something we call the news at noon.
There's a whole lot going on in this world. It's time to catch up. Here's the news at noon. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Ray Dunn, busy assembling at least 3 stories that would be interesting to us as a little venture away from the main topics, which today we have no main topic. So this is part of the main topic. The news at noon is the main topic today. Ray, what do you got?
Well, it's centering around the opening topic here. Paul George taking time away from Podcast P to focus in on what's important and that championship run that we're all expecting at this point for the 76ers. And this opens the door for us, media members, to begin criticizing everyone that has a podcast and just blaming everything that they don't do well on the fact that they do a podcast. Kendrick Perkins decided yesterday, before Sixers-Knicks on ESPN, that now is the time to call out the Knicks players who are doing podcasts and say it's actually distracting them from what's really important.
Paul George is not the only person that should be, taking a break from podcasting during the basketball season. I feel like Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart as well need to take a break, because if you're trying to go out there and honestly compete for an NBA championship, that should be your only goal. Anything else outside of that is a distraction. Right? I wish I would have walked in the 2008 locker room talking about our podcast and through the season, or anybody else. It would have been smoke and furniture moving around it. So, again, guys need to keep the main thing the main thing. And when you have an opportunity to win a championship, keep the main thing the main thing. Everything else could wait.
Go ahead, Jalen.
Yeah, he'll drop the little hurts.
The main thing. 2008 perk. Listen, times have changed a little bit. So if guys have idle time during the day, like what effort are they really putting in a podcast? You get from a microphone, they're talking. Like it's not like they're planning anything. Well, I don't know if it should hurt your performance.
Well, where's all the backlash towards Travis Kelce? Because he's probably got the biggest podcast about anybody, and he did not show up in the Super Bowl. I haven't heard anyone say it's because of the New Heights podcast. No one's coming after him.
Well, he got ahead of the story saying he was sick.
Yeah, he's sick.
Listen, it's idle time. If you got time to bang out an hour podcast and somebody's you're just a participant. Like, it's your podcast, but you're not arranging anything. It's like the people that are with you are doing all the arranging.
It's like going to dinner. Talk. It's like going to dinner with your friends,
right.
These guys.
Yeah, so, but I get it. I think it's noble that Podcast P now is going to shut it down to really focus on the Sixer season.
And if you can't hear the sarcasm through the airwaves, that was sarcastic.
I'm glad he's really this time going to focus on the season.
And it's not too late either. They're only 20 and 38.
Kendrick Perkins acts like Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson are sitting there cutting the audio, posting the clips.
Let me tell you something, folks. They don't get the guests. They don't do anything. They don't do squat.
Yeah, they sit down and talk.
I have my podcast. I had to do all that stuff. But they don't, because they're who they are. And you got glommers that want to do stuff with them and just put their name on it and try to make some money out of it.
If anyone wants one of those random generic posts, hey, I'm available. Shoot me a message.
There you go.
Could add a side project. All right, let's keep moving here with these podcasts. Let's go to Gilbert Arenas while we're doing a News at Noon All in NBA podcast. The Thunder have had a really tough stretch going into last night. They went 2-2 in that stretch, which is very difficult to watch for one of these young teams. So naturally, Gilbert Arenas and crew are debating what's wrong with that team. And what's wrong with them might be the fact that SGA has too calm of a home life. That's not my words. Take it from Gilbert Arenas and all of them talking about what they see from him.
They're just not ready. They're not there mentally yet. They need another year or two. What I seen was the coach allowing those guys to stay in the game, those starters. They got tired down the stretch, and Shea could not finish and do none of the he was doing in the third.
He's focused on MVP. Like, that's what it's about. So he going to get his MVP, and then the playoffs come, spanked.
Yeah.
We'll know when they're ready when the media has the argument of who should be traded. You know what? He plays like he's tied down.
Yes.
Yeah.
He has a boo.
No, what I'm saying, we know who's reckless and who
You can tell.
He plays like he good at home.
Yep. Shout out SBA. So cool, chill. I ain't got nothing to prove.
Just like Jokic, got the ring right here.
It's my baby. That's my baby.
When got 4 baby mamas in the stand stressing them out.
So apparently, what's wrong with the Thunder? They've gone 2-2, and SGA's got too calm of a home life.
Too calm of a home life. Gilbert, he should be more like you, Gil. He should come in packing, waving a gun. That would work, I think, a little better for him.
I don't understand. They're 9-up in the Western Conference. So what are they?
They're not ready.
Listen, man, it's like hot take talk when the fellas getting together and batting the breeze. They're going to play for the NBA title, frankly. So we'll see.
And in this stretch, you could say, well, they did lose the Timberwolves twice in that 4-game stretch. They did beat the Timberwolves once in that time. Like, I don't know. I'm just sitting here trying to rack my brain as to why something's wrong with the Thunder. Mm-hmm. And the take that his home life is too calm for him to be competing at a high level is just a wild.
He's going to be the MVP.
Yeah. Hey, listen, maybe he's too focused on the MVP. It's not a debate that we haven't had before.
Which is another non-USA guy winning an MVP in the NBA.
A baby mama in the stands that you're fretting about.
That's why you're playing well. Like, what?
Come on, Gilbert. All right.
Last one for you. I just want the end of the Podcast P era. I want to go back to the beginning of our time alongside Podcast P. Paul George, the podcast following him signing with the 76ers, talking about all that was well and good. And of course, he's focused on winning a championship. Listen to Paul George assure you things are going to be fantastic.
I think Nick Nurse is as good as it gets as coaching. He's won at many different levels. I already talked about how good Joel is and Tyrese is, and now you mix in myself, Oubre. I think we have a hell of a starting five, and then we got veteran guys coming off the bench. So we already have a recipe to be a really good team. And then I think, everybody wants to win. I think you have a good mixture of veterans and young guys. I think Jared McCain will help, really good player out of college. And so it's just a good mixture of everything. Ultimately winning a championship means the most and the only thing I'm trying to do at this point in my career.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
I will hope so.
Have things changed or what?
Right.
Good Lord.
We didn't need this today, right? That's
Ray,
a little bit of a low
you
blow
can tell
right
Ray
there.
is peeved.
He is.
By Paul George.
It's absurd. I didn't get to react to what he said the other night, where it took a loss to the Bulls where you're down 50 points for you to realize that this isn't a team that's got the habits of a championship contender.
Yeah.
That was an absurd thing to say. And for you, who's never been really close to that level, to start making those assertions is wild.
Yeah, we're all perplexed and disgusted by this whole thing, but they did give an effort last night. I was watching social media. I got to laud the Sixers' effort tonight, and I was right there with you. I laud it. I laud that effort. Let's take a break. On the other side, we're going to continue with a little of the news at noon, because Ray Dunn made some news at noon last night.
Oh, yes, he did.
And the Temple Owls with a buzzer beater, and you're going to hear Ray describe it. That's coming up right after this.
Tyrone Johnson.
Do you not think that the people that came
13, Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5 The Fanatic. And we had some technical problems today at the station, and we are unable to take phone calls today, which is problematic for a sports talk radio show. However, we're having great conversation, man. We've got 2 hours and 15 minutes into this show, Bill, and we haven't missed a beat with good conversation.
We're pros, man. That's what it's all about.
Yes, we are. We are pros. So last night, well, the Temple Owls, they're trying to get on a little run here, maybe get into their conference tournament and shake up the world and get in the NCAA tournament, which is unlikely to happen. But last night, the Owls went on a buzzer beater, and the man doing the play-by-play on ESPN Plus was none other than our own Ray Field Dunn.
Ray Field Dunn. What do we got, Ray? Do you got the highlight?
All right, and here it is.
Stanford waving his arm, moving to the right, going downhill on Jennings, fading away, has it blocked, gets it back, second chance opportunity. And Temple victorious this evening over South Florida.
Temple victorious over South Florida.
Wait, who was the color guy with you?
Jason Ivey.
He talked over your call a little bit.
Jason loves Temple. He's just excited.
He got a little too excited.
Jason Ivey. I was covering it when Jason Ivey played.
Yeah, you got to give him a little elbow.
The Owls.
Don't get in my way on the call.
Not giving him the elbow. He's fired up.
From Georgia? Jason Ivey?
From South.
From the South somewhere.
I thought.
He's a good player for them. Cheney.
It's a good job by Ray, though.
There you go, Ray. Hitting it up. Gets it back.
Gets it back. What's up? And the Temple Owls are victorious.
Yeah.
Love it, Ray.
It happened.
As opposed to the guy at Villanova goes, Cats win. Cats win. Cats win. You don't do that. Owls win. Owls win. Owls win.
Well, it'd be stolen valor, too.
Now, that play you said was on SportsCenter's top 10?
Number 3.
How about that? Number 3? You got some number 3 play?
Well, he said the only problem is they put the volume down real low and they talked over it.
Well,
right?
yeah, that's what they do.
They should have just let it play. Let Ray Dunn.
You watch the top 10? That's not how they do the top 10. If we got an individual highlight pack, I was more upset with Arkansas and Texas last night. If I have to give anyone problems here, Coach Cal not being able to close out Texas at home meant the 11 o'clock Sports Center was condensed to like 15 minutes, so they didn't have any individual highlights shown in that Sports Center. So Coach Cal was killing us.
I was up early this morning. I guess like Van Pelt does the night show, but he was on this morning. Can I ask you a question about who's the other bald guy that's there and why is he there?
Stanford Steve? With him?
Who is he?
Stanford Steve.
Stanford Steve. What is his connection to this whole thing? What's Stanford?
Producer.
What?
Like,
he produces?
Producer, co-host.
Why is he a co-host? Stanford Steve. What's his claim to fame that he should be on the air and on TV?
I don't know. Thought he's with Scott Van Pelt?
I mean, Scott Van Pelt is Scott Van Pelt. Who is this other guy? It's like the zombie that's on the McAfee.
AJ Hawk.
AJ Hawk. Like, what is this guy's purpose? Stanford Steve. And why is he called Stanford Steve?
Steve Stenstrom.
A lot of people were asking the same question when Bill shaved his head and he showed up next to you on the Mike Missanelli show. People grow to love him.
But Bill says stuff. Like, this guy didn't say anything. He's just there.
Stanford Steve, because he played football at Stanford. He was drafted in the 4th round of the 1995 NFL draft by the Kansas City Chiefs.
He's a former player?
Played for the Chiefs, Bears, Niners, Lions, and Broncos.
What? What's his last name?
Stenstrom.
Stenstrom?
He was drafted in the 4th round.
What position did he play?
Quarterback.
He was a quarterback?
He was a quarterback at Stanford, and he still holds many of Stanford's passing records, including total yards.
I never heard of the guy.
Passing yards gained in a season, pass attempts in a season, pass completions.
But what is his connection to Van Pelt that he's on that show? Like, I've never seen him do any analysis or anything. He's just plopped on that Scott Van Pelt show. Like, what's the connection?
Do I have the right guy?
Yeah, I'm starting to think you don't have the right guy, man.
You can't have the right guy.
Stanford Steve's last name is Coughlin.
Yeah, I got the wrong guy.
This guy's bald.
It just so happened that there was a Steve from Stanford.
Yeah.
So I'm reading this here. I'm like, no, this is the wrong guy.
Yeah, he grew up in Connecticut, attended Stanford, where he's a tight end on the football team. So he did have football, right? But no, he's not the all-time passing guy.
Wrong guy.
Yeah.
I just wondered what the connection is. And all of a sudden, he's plopped at a desk.
I could get you his bio here from ESPN.
Yeah, I don't need his bio. I just need a rationale. I need a reason.
He worked on Van Pelt's radio show.
Oh.
And so I think he was his producer that kind of followed up with him.
Okay. All right.
He did play football, though, at Stanford. You said, right? Yeah.
Yes.
He just wasn't the quarterback. He was a tight end.
That's what.
Okay.
I know you said it. I'm just reading his stats now.
All right. Let's get into this.
Let's compare. Colorulo stats or Stanford Steve stats? Which one we like better at tight end?
Stanford and Gettysburg, similar level.
I was going to give you a chance to have the same level, just no context.
Let me tell you somebody who gave you a chance to be like a walk-on at Stanford, you would have succeeded on the football field, however, not in the classroom. At Stanford, you would have been.
I got a giant brain, dude. You don't give me enough credit.
You have a giant head too.
Aced my bar.
Giant brain.
Aced them.
610-632-0975. On the other side, I would like baseball to eliminate the home plate umpire. I got a plan for it. I've had a plan for it for years. A lot of people think I'm a baseball purist. I don't want change. No, I want change. I want to make the game quicker. And one of the ways to make the game quicker is not to have these inane challenges. And the way you don't have the inane challenge is you have it by laser. And there can't be a challenge. 610-632-0975. Back after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
76ers lose again. I'm Ray Tom with this Fanatic Sports Update. It was competitive, at least. The Knicks beat the Sixers 110-105 for the Sixers' 9th straight loss. Jalen Brunson scored 11 of his 34 points in the game's final 4 minutes. To lift the Knicks, post-game Nick Nurse talked about the struggle of guarding Jalen Brunson.
They're trying to do two things with him. I mean, he only took 5 threes tonight. That's pretty good. We try to not have him shoot too many threes, and then our other goal is to not foul him. And I think yeah, we bumped him a little bit here and there, but I thought 16 was quite a few tonight for him.
Sixers have 2 days until they host the Warriors on Saturday, as they will attempt to avoid losing 10 straight games. Flyers go for the 4th win in a row tonight as they play the Penguins in Pittsburgh. You can hear the game here on 97.5. The Fanatic. Phillies in action. It's spring training against the Yankees at 1:05. Kyle Schwarber batting first, playing first base. Edmundo Sosa in left field. Zach Wheeler taking the mound. This update is brought to you by Rocket. If you feel like owning a home that has been out of reach, Rocket is here to change that. Own the dream. Visit rocket.com or call 800-4ROCKET. Again, that's rocket.com or call 800-4ROCKET. I'm Ray Dunn in the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic, 97.5thefanatic.com.
the show, we're going to kind of rehash the topic we introduced yesterday about the Eagles placing 22nd in the NFLPA's third annual player poll that was released, where they player concerns, locker room, treatment of facilities, food, all kinds of stuff, airplane travel, the whole bit. They were way down. Now, this poll was conducted before they actually won the Super Bowl, so maybe they're a little more jaded following what happened last year and the season conclusion. However, we are also involved in this conversation about Robo umps that we were going to bring up yesterday because Max Scherzer had some things to say. Bill, right, about this Robo ump situation?
Yeah, he did because he was on the wrong side of two challenges the other day in the Grapefruit League. But, I mean, essentially what he was saying was pitchers usually wouldn't get rewarded with a strike when they miss their spot. Like if a catcher lines up on the outside of the plate, pitcher misses his spot inside, sometimes the ump wouldn't give you credit for a strike there. Well, now you can challenge that, and technically, if it went over the plate, you're going to get the strike. So I understand his argument, but I'm just more for accuracy. Like, I'm okay with this. But now you're saying you'd like to get rid of the umpires entirely.
I think it's ridiculous, first of all, that a batter or a catcher, they're the only two people who can challenge it, right?
Pitcher, batter, catcher.
Pitcher can challenge as well?
It has to be instantaneous.
Okay.
And you get two of them unless you get it right.
All it does is it's going to slow down the game. I get it. You only get two per game. But why don't you just experiment with the laser strike zone with the technology that you have right now? If the ball touches any part of that, just like when we show it on TV, if the ball touches the strike zone, that's how we at home can tell whether it was a strike or a ball. And every strike zone would be adjusted accordingly to the player's height and stance. Like, I do not understand. I know they're going to have a problem. Where would an umpire be stationed if there's a play at the plate? I get that. You have to work that out somehow. But if it's foolproof, if you have a laser strike zone and the ball touches it, it's a strike. You can't argue that. You wouldn't need a challenge. Like this, all this nonsense that they go through before actually doing something that would be 100% effective and speed up the game. I do not understand why they have to experiment with stuff like this where you can challenge.
So you want it just universal?
Yes. And I've said this for years. You have that kind of technology where you can laser it from center field and laser in a strike zone on a particular batter. If the ball touches that, it's a strike. It's simple. Ball one, strike one. Ball two, strike two, whatever.
So I don't hate the way that this – and look, this is just testing out in about 60% of games in the Grapefruit League. It's not coming to Major League Baseball this year. The soonest we would see it would be next season. I kind of like the strategy, though, that now has to come into play because you don't want to necessarily use your challenges early. Like Brandon Marsh was quoted. I saw some stat where Brandon Marsh had the most strikes called against him last season that were out of the strike zone than anybody else in Major League Baseball. And he was asked about this challenge thing, and he said, look, I'm not going to use them. I'm going to save them for the guys at the top of the lineup. So now, like, Rojas, if he's batting ninth and he has a ball that's called a strike, does he want to risk using a challenge when you've taken it away potentially from Bryce Harper?
This nonsense you're adding. You're adding layers of nonsense to this. You're adding layers of thought process when the other procedure would be foolproof. There's guys that miss the strike zone, right? So if you don't challenge, those balls are going to be called balls or strikes, right? So the other way, there's no way it can't be a ball or a strike. They're like, why would you have to go through this nonsense?
Yeah, I got to be honest, man. I am shocked at your position on this.
Well, how?
Because I did think you were a baseball purist.
Once foolproof. If you're going to change this, then why not go all the way? When the other thing is 100% accurate, instead you're going to go, okay, I got two challenges a game. What about the other bad calls? The other bad calls would not exist with laser strike zone. It wouldn't exist.
So the quote that Max Scherzer had on Tuesday was, we're humans. Can we just be judged by humans? That's essentially what he said. Now, I'm with you. I'm leaning more.
umpires that make a bad call. That would not tick him off.
Yeah, I'm sure it would. But like, I'm with you. I'm leaning more towards just go all in, get the balls and strikes correct every single time.
Tell me why they wouldn't be able to go all in, right?
Why they wouldn't be able to go all in
with a laser strike zone. The umpire union, the umpire's still getting paid. He's still going to be there. What does he care? Does he really? Do you think it's fun for an umpire to be behind the plate? To get foul
I don't
balls?
think it's.
All right, well, then the union wouldn't be affected.
I think the union would see this as the first step to phasing them out entirely. Or at least minimizing the number of jobs that they would have.
But you can't phase out base umpires. And you can't phase out a home plate umpire because he still has to make calls at the plate.
Happen here. If you begin to use the argument that you can automate balls and strikes, you're going to be able to find technology that balls in play fair. We know that that's fair. Guy hits bag on first before the throw gets there. We know he's safe. Like, I understand that in the moment it's going to be tough. Like, I have a tough time envisioning the game without those umpires giving the signals of safe, giving the signals of ball down the line. But I imagine they would look at it as, if you can find a way to replace us here, technology could replace us down the line.
Let me ask you, what standing would they have? What power would they have then to refute that? Like, what's more important? The game itself or the umpires union? I know the umpires union is strong, but the alternative is, fellas, we changed the rules. Sorry. What are they going to do about it? They can't do anything about it.
I mean, I don't know what it would take to eliminate a union and eliminate umpires' jobs. That's well above my pay grade.
You don't have to eliminate a union. You just get new umpires. You get the guys that are in AAA that make it up to the big leagues. You go, okay, you guys don't want these new rules? I guess we've got to phase out your job. What could the union possibly do about that?
I mean,
I've been in a union. They phase out jobs all the time.
All right. I have. So that to me, like, I would see the umpires union having a grievance with their jobs being altered. If you think they could do that by unilaterally getting rid of umpires and not having any sort of process that goes further along the line.
The umpire either has to... Okay, how is my job impacted? At the moment, how's my job impacted? Well, in the future, it might be. That's not a good enough legal argument. It's just not. We're not taking anything away from you guys. You're getting the same pay. We got the same promotion situation. We're not taking away an umpire on the field.
And your job got easier.
And your job got easier at home plate, where you don't risk injury, getting bopped, getting concussions on foul balls. How about that? How's that work for you?
But could this be, because I'm with you, I was calling for it this summer, too, that I wanted robo-umps. Couldn't this just be a step in the right direction to just universally doing it? Like, instead of just ripping the Band-Aid and saying, we're going all in on robo-umps, it's, all right, we're going to start with the challenges. Look, the NFL's doing something similar. They're trying to expand replay assist now. That's going to happen. So, like, things are slowly coming along.
What's the problem with baseball that they've been trying to correct now for the last century? Speed of the game, right?
Yes.
It's too long of a game.
Well,
this is adding length instead of subtracting length.
I read somewhere, because they've used this before at the college ranks, right? It's college that uses it, right, Ray? If I'm not mistaken.
They've used certain variations of it at different minor league baseball as well.
So I was reading an article the other day that said that they anticipate this would add 17 seconds. That the average time to challenge it's going to take 17 seconds. Because it's got to be immediate. So the catcher, the pitcher, the batter hits their helmet challenge. The laser technology will review it instantly and tell them whether it's a strike.
Will it take away all bad calls?
No, it won't.
Will mine take away all bad calls? Would my proposal take away all calls and not add 17 seconds?
It would, but like this is why I said I compared it to the NFL. The NFL has that challenge system, which now has been further and further taken to replay assists, scoring plays are automatically reviewed, turnovers are automatically reviewed. But when it first got implemented, if you didn't challenge it, if you were out of challenges and a guy stepped out of bounds, there's nothing you could do about it, right? If there was a fumble and you're out of challenges, there's nothing you could do about it.
What's the most accurate balls and strikes? When we watch a game, what is the most accurate thing that we see? Whether it's a ball or a strike.
You talking about that little rectangle they have?
Yes. That's the most accurate way. We see. We see it right there.
Yeah.
Whether it's a ball or a strike. Umpires with their physical eyes can't see what we see with that box. I'm creating the box.
I'm with you. I do agree with you. I think they should roll it out universally and just say, hey, we're going to get every ball and strike correct. But to try to play the devil's advocate, understanding the other side of it, is I think there are a lot of baseball purists who say, hey, forever there's been unique strike zones for umpires.
For forever, there was extra innings. You played 18 innings. Like this is you're adapting to the modern world. That's why people say, well, you're no, I'm not. I like the fact that you don't have to play 18 innings and stretch out your pitching staff. I like the fact that these little twerks they made with the pitch clock. That was tradition too, wasn't it?
I agree with. Look, I'm on your side, but what I'm saying is I don't even know if I should say I could understand. The argument that I think a lot of baseball purists have is there was an art to the game. Like when you were a pitcher, you knew, you know what, I'm getting that outside corner call, even though technically maybe he's stretching the strike zone a little bit. And then as a batter, you had to know, hey, listen, he's giving him that call. I got to protect the plate. Whereas if you go universal robot, that's not going to happen.
Well, how does that make the game better? That a guy is going to get a call that might be on the outside part of the plate, and it puts a hitter on guard. That's unfairity. That's what that is. That's unfairity.
And I'm not saying I disagree with you, but it's always been that way.
You're not disagreeing with me, but you're disagreeing with me. Well, you are disagreeing with me.
I mean, I've just seen some of the clips of, watching Maddox talk about how he would approach
Maddox would be similarly effective because he would hit that dot that joins the corners of that strike zone.
He would.
He would not be affected.
He would. But what I'm saying is there was an art to it that almost gets, I don't want to say eliminated, but it becomes different now.
Is there still not an art to hitting the most minute corner of the strike zone?
Oh, absolutely.
And would that be still in play with a laser strike zone?
Absolutely. But you would also agree that depending on who was behind the plate, the strike zone was different from night to night.
I don't like that. It should be all universal. 610-632-0975. Mike Missanelli Show continues. 1241. Like Missanelli Show, 97.5 The Fanatic. This challenge thing is preposterous. It just really is. What good is it? 2 challenges a game. Like, you're going to save your challenge. There's going to be games where you don't even use your challenge. Suppose you save it for the 9th inning. Like, you save every challenge for the 9th inning, anticipating it's going to be a close game. You can't possibly burn a challenge since baseball is so much more important when we get to the later innings. You want to save every challenge for the late innings. You want to save every challenge for the 9th inning.
Unless you know you're right, because you wouldn't lose a challenge if you're correct.
Okay.
So, I mean, I agree with you, but that's what they would say.
The risk of losing it
may not be worth it.
The whole thing is foolish when you think about it. You're going to tap your head. To review, striker ball. Well, one striker ball, unless you get struck out, and you get struck out with two runners, you're in the 3rd inning. 2nd and 3rd, 2 outs. You get struck out on a pitch you think is outside. Challenge?
Yeah, I guess it depends on who you are. Like, I don't know if I'd want...
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, the whole thing is preposterous. Like, it seems like, on paper, that seems like progression. In reality, it's not progression at all. It's just holding up the game more. And you don't even know when to use them. And if you use them, you burn the challenge. Somebody's going to say, wow, see, if they would have had that challenge in the 9th inning, they would,
So, I'm with you. I'd rather it just be universal. Balls and strikes are called by a robot. However, if this is all Major League Baseball is willing to give, I'll take it. Are you at the point where you're saying, no, either give it all or don't give me anything?
This doesn't make any sense to me. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is not progress at all. It's just not.
It's some progress.
It's not really. It's not really progress because you don't know when to use these challenges. And certain players you're going to take up a challenge and you're going to take one away from Bryce Harper. Like every star player should just have the challenges. Then put them in their pocket. But the bottom of the order is going to use the challenge early in the game. And if you use the challenge, you can't. And you're wrong. You can't use it the rest of the game, except for one more. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, so here's more of what Max Scherzer said, and I don't know if I agree with this, but he says, I'm skeptical. I get what we're trying to do, but I think Major League umpires are really good. They're really good. So what are we actually changing here? We know there's going to be strikes that are changed to balls, and there's going to be balls that are changed to strikes, so we're going to basically be even. So are we actually going to improve the game? Are the umpires really that bad? I don't think so. That's coming from Scherzer. So he's saying he thinks that because it's going to be some strikes get changed to balls and vice versa, it'll just be a wash. Nothing really improves.
I think I'm agreeing with Scherzer. I think if you're going to change the balls and strike structure, you got to change it to include a laser strike zone. And nobody could possibly complain about that, except for the logistics of where the home plate umpire's got to stand.
Yeah, I guess that would be it. But again, it depends on these baseball purists. If you're looking at it where it's like, I want pitchers to hit their spot, I want pitchers and batters to have to learn what the strike zone is that night so that you can take advantage of certain things, knowing you're not getting certain calls or you are. I mean, there is an art to that that's existed forever. I'm with you.
The art still is in existence if you have the laser strike zone. Like, I don't understand what you're saying about the art. Either it's a strike or it's not a strike. The art is hitting the corners. Yeah, but going up and in and hitting a corner, getting a guy's kitchen. Like, that's the art of pitching.
Listen,
the art of pitching is not to throw a ball that is called a strike.
I am with you 100%.
It doesn't sound like you're with me at all.
I'm just giving you the other side of the argument. Like, I'm with you. I'd rather
Is he with me, Ray?
Universal.
I think he is, actually.
He's with me.
No, I am.
But he's coming up with everything to refute it.
I'm trying to tell you what the other side of these arguments are. Because, look, you know, because you've watched enough baseball, that there are certain nights where the umpire behind home plate may be giving a pitcher a certain pitch.
Yeah, and that's not good.
But that is baseball.
But it's not good. If you want to take away the things that aren't good in baseball, then take them away. That's not good. That an umpire's going to be liberal with a certain pitcher, that makes the hitter confused. It doesn't help the game. It doesn't help the progress of the game itself. Now, the key to it is, how many times have you seen when they have that box, you'll get a ball that's a quarter, it touches it by a quarter of a ball. That is a strategic pitch. That pitch would be called a strike with a laser strike zone.
It would be.
And that's the key. You're still thriving to hit that spot if you're a pitcher. And if you don't hit that spot, guess what? It's a ball, and you don't get the benefit of it because you got some liberal umpire.
Aren't you going to miss, though, the see, hey?
No. In fact, what you can do, have AI do the same thing with that. Strike three! Like the voice comes out. It's triggered on strike three by the mechanism. Now here's the problem. I'm telling you, this is not a small problem now. The home plate umpire still has to be there. Where would you put him? Because I can see this. You put him in the dugout. He's got to now, if there's a play at the plate, he's got to race to home plate. And I can see the other side going, get your fat ass to the plate a little quicker.
Yeah.
Because that's what we used to tech umpires. Get your fat ass out there and see the play.
Now,
Blue.
That's always the best. Come on, Blue.
So that's the problem. Like, where would the home plate umpire actually have to be?
Well, I guess technically they could still stand behind home plate, right? Even if they're not calling the balls and strikes.
Yeah, I guess they could.
They could just for aesthetic.
Yeah,
people don't mind looking at it.
Get down the crouch for no reason.
You just got to stand back there.
Taking the foul ball to the face for no reason.
For no reason. You can't put them in the on-deck circle, though. You know?
No.
A line drive. You're impeding the guys in the on-deck circle. You're going to put them against the backdrop, and they can't do that, too. Foul. You would have to put them out of harm's way. That's a problem.
Yeah, well, look, it's not happening this year. They're testing it out. What do they call it? ABS?
Automatic balls and strikes.
Is that what that stands for? It's pretty obvious. Yeah, automatic ball strike system. ABS. Now, Major League Baseball is not the only league that's considering advanced technology. Did you see what the NFL's doing now?
No, well, that should have been done years ago.
Yes, the laser technology.
Yeah, that's not even how would you not come up with that sooner?
You didn't like the old chain gang?
The chain has an aesthetic to it.
It does.
Those guys wobble out there with the chain.
They have to stay. We could do the new thing.
They're still going to have them. They're going to be a backup. They're going to be a backup. But yeah, really.
I think that there should be a beep. You hit the first down, beep, beep. The laser stretches out where that yard line is for the first down. As soon as you cross it, beep.
Now, that one, you're right. I've never understood why they didn't go to advanced technology sooner. I mean, how many games have we seen the ref at the top of the screen and the one at the bottom of the screen running in to spot the ball, and they're both about a yard different than each other?
Yeah.
And then they figure it out. Like that, I've never understood why they didn't just go to this advanced technology.
What's the chat board saying about anything we've been talking about, Bill? You've been very silent on the chat board today. You engaging with the people or what?
I am.
Actor-wise, Robo-ump-wise.
So for the Robo-ump, because I was talking about how there was an art to it, JM, I thought, made a good point. He said there's an art to doing surgery without modern technology as well. So good point by JM. What do we have?
Seriously, I'm a hitter, right? And I stand in there, and I have had plenty of beefs with umpires. Like, you step in and you go, a little low, don't you think? You give him one of those. Or, it's upstairs. But I wouldn't have a complaint with this. Like, you completely complaintless with a laser strike zone. Yeah, that's a strike. All right, beep. I guess I'm down in the count. 610-632-0975. We'll get back to our text board, our chat board after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
76ers lose again. I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update. It was competitive, at least. The Knicks beat the 76ers 110-105 for the Sixers' 9th straight loss. Jalen Brunson scored 11 of his 34 points in the game's final 4 minutes to lift the Knicks. Post-game, Nick Nurse talked about the struggle of guarding Brunson.
They're trying to do two things with him. I mean, he only took 5 threes tonight. That's pretty good. We try to not have him shoot too many threes, and then our other goal is to not foul him. And I think yeah, we bumped him a little bit here and there, but I thought 16 was quite a few tonight for him.
Sixers have 2 days to host the Warriors on Saturday as they will attempt to avoid losing 10 straight games. Flyers going for the 4th straight win tonight as they play the Penguins out in Pittsburgh. You can hear the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Phillies in action against the Yankees in Grapefruit League play today at 1:05. Kyle Schwarber batting first, playing first base. Edmundo Sosa is in left field for the Phils. This update is brought to you by Wendy's. Try a $3 Son of Baconator today. Big news, bacon lovers. Wendy's Son of Baconator is only $3 for a limited time. That's a whole lot of bacon for just $3 for bacon that just won't quit. Gotta be Wendy's. I'm Ray Dunn, the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
It's 12:54. Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5, The Fanatic. 610-632-0975. You want to get back to the chat board. So there was this thing on Crossing Swords today that involved me and this lawsuit that I'm involved in, where I suggest that you read it. I can't do it any more justice other than you read what's going on with this guy who owes me $85,000. I offered to settle this case with the guy for less than half of the total that he owes me, and this guy had the balls to counteroffer me at even a lesser amount. So,
I gotta read it.
I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous. He's citing cases that don't exist. It's like, dude, I hope to God that people review before you get in business with somebody. Review that.
Yeah, I gotta read. I'm looking at it now.
It's just so amazing. Anyway, back to the Robo umpires. You know who was really good at balls and strikes? Lenny Dykstra. He was the best I've ever seen at it.
Yeah.
Working a count, knowing what the ball and strike was. Which leads me to a story that I've told. I don't know if I've told it here or even told it to you. Lenny, whose life is a mess, and has been for a really long period of time, came in and co-hosted a show a la Charles Barkley with me twice.
Really? That's got to be going way back. Like recently?
No, when I first came back in 2008. So it was after.
Okay, so like 16, 17 years ago.
Maybe 2010, 2012, somewhere in there. Well, that's fairly recent.
All right, that's like 13 years ago.
Yeah, so he comes in and he's telling me all kinds of stories, baseball stories. But baseball stories are the greatest ever. So he says to me, I spent $250,000 getting personal information on umpires. And I go, well, huh? He goes, yeah, I spent $250,000. They share personal information on umpires. I go, how does that help you? He goes, I'll tell you how it helps me. I get in the batter's box and I got some personal information on umpires. Say the guy's name is Joe. I go, hey Joe, how was that parlay you bet last night? And he goes, you know what that does, dude? It shrinks the strike zone. Right? So anyway, he tells me a story about the night he got into a fight with the Dodger catcher Rick Dempsey in the batter's box. Now, people that follow the Phillies would remember this. They literally got into a wrestling punching match in the batter's box in Dodger Stadium one night. So I asked him about it. I said, Lenny, what was that fight you had with Rick Dempsey? He goes, I'll tell you what that was. He goes, Dempsey was yapping all game. Yap, 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 yap. He said, I'm in the dugout. I said to Dutch, Darren Dalton. I go, Dutch. Dempsey says one word to me. We're getting it on. Right? So he says, I step in the batter's box. Now, mind you, he says, I'm hitting 405 at the time, which he was. It was fairly early in the season. I'm hitting 405 at the time. I stand in there. The first pitch is a ball. I know it's a ball. Calls it a strike. And so I step out, and I go, Bruce. I think the umpire was Bruce Fleming. I go, Bruce, can you read? He says, yeah, Lenny, why? He goes, you see that big scoreboard up there, center field? He goes, yeah. He goes, what's that say? He goes, I'll tell you what it says. It says 40-5. And you know why? He goes, because I know the bleeping strike zone. He says, Dempsey gets up and says, get back in the box, Lenny, you bastard. And he said that was it. And they started throwing punches in the batter's box. That's how obsessive you can get about a strike zone. This is why I'm saying Robo strike zone.
Well, it would have saved Dykstra a lot of money if they had a Robo strike zone.
It would have.
He wouldn't have had to get any information.
He wouldn't have. But that story made national news, by the way, when he said that.
I can imagine.
All right. You're listening to the Mike Missanelli Show on. So you were half listening to that story and half in your damn chat.
I heard everything you said.
You just you have no response. You're just typing away. Blah, blah, blah.
I know I heard it.
You're the worst audience ever. you really are.
Right. What was I supposed to respond to that? I got nothing else to add.
Audience ever. He didn't even laugh at that story, right?
Right. I got nothing to add to that story.
This is between the two of you, and I'm leaving.
Not even a chuckle did I get from him. terrible audience. I'm not
a terrible audience.
Clark, you're a terrible audience.
I heard it.
Why do you even bother tell these stories, right? Why do I even bother?
Whatever it takes, dude.
For our audience, the wonderful people that listen.
You're listening to WPEN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group station, broadcasting from the Comcast Business Studios, empowering possibilities. All right, so let's start with our text board for today. Again, if you're just tuning in, we cannot take phone calls today because our system blew up last night, and so they're trying some fix. How was it explained to us that they were trying to reset a new phone system of some sort, and it blew up? Is that what happened?
Yeah, right. What do we got?
Just stop chatting for 3 seconds.
What do we got on that?
What do we got on that? I walked out of this studio pulling all nights to you getting the explanation.
Chat board.
If you really want to know what I'm doing,
what are you doing?
I'm not looking at the YouTube chat. I'm looking at Mark Stein had put something out about the 76ers, and I'm trying to find it, that they are not going to shut down Joel Embiid for the season. So I'm trying to find that quote so that we can discuss it, because it sounds as if they are still holding out hope that they're going to make the play-in tournament.
Let's comment on that first of all before we get to the chat board. Why would they come out and say that they're shutting them down for the season? What benefit would they have? They can just shut them down for the season naturally. Why would they have to announce that they're shutting them down for the season? What does that matter? In fact, all that does is make it worse for them if they say that.
I guess you're right, but it sounds as if this is accurate, and I'm trying to find it, it sounds as if
this is like a non-story.
They still think they're going to make the damn play.
It's a non-story. They realized they couldn't play him at all. Have they admitted, we realize his knee's bad and we can't play him again? No, they're just dragging people along so they don't look bad. So they hold out the possibility that, he could still play if they rehab him, when they know deep inside he's not going to play. They have nothing to gain by saying we're shutting them down for the rest of the season, because then everybody then completely bails on them.
And I hate to be this cynical.
But that's what I was trying to do. I'm not on the YouTube chat. I'm trying to actually find if this is a real story here. But go ahead, Ray.
I hate to be this cynical about it. As you know, I'm a part of a group that has season tickets.
Huh?
We got our renewal information, which means we have about 2-ish weeks. Like, decision time for your next year's season tickets are coming up. I'd hate to be cynical enough to think this thing's being dragged out a little bit with the business end in mind.
Well, what do you think, Ray? You're a smart kid.
That's why I say I hate to think that way.
Yeah, well, you hate to think that way, but what would you do as an organization when they've done it all year long? I've been complaining about this consumer thing the whole year long. They're dragging you through it. It is not fair to the fan base. But at this point, they're going to go, what do we have to gain by saying we're going to shut him down for the whole year when they can just do it naturally? It's like the process. They weren't telling you they were trying to lose. They were naturally losing by playing mutts.
Yeah. It's if that is, in fact, see, either way, I don't like it. Because either one, they're dragging people along, or two, they actually believe that making the play-in tournament is what would be best for this basketball team. Because if you do that, if you make the play-in, it means you're not getting your draft pick this year, most likely, because you're not going to get a top 6 pick. And you're going, even if you make it out of the play-in, Mike, we've done this. We've looked at the bracket and how it would work. Even if they somehow, as a 10 seed, can get to the 8 through the play-in, they got to play Cleveland in the first round.
Let me ask you this. As dumb as they have been assembling this team, do you think they're dumb enough to think that they could actually have a chance in the playoffs? Do you really think?
Wait, when you put it that way.
Well, what I'm saying is they made the wrong judgments on players, right? But this is a real judgment. With this team that they have brought together, do you really think that they think they can do something in the playoffs?
I mean, a rational answer would be no.
Of course.
But do they think it?
I'm going to at least give them credit that a guy like Elton Brand, who's played in the league, does not think that this team, as assembled, could do anything in the playoffs. And therefore, they're just going to ride it out. They don't have to say, we're shutting down Embiid. They can just do it.
So, will you be shocked if Embiid plays another minute this season?
No, I think he'll play a game here and there.
Hey, see, that doesn't make any sense to me to do that.
Why? What's the difference? He's got to get this taken care of in the offseason anyway. What's the difference if he plays a couple of games?
Yes, I mean, I'm not a doctor, obviously, but I would rather see them, whatever he needs, whatever needs to be done, let's start it now. Like, why drag this on? Why put him back out there? He's clearly a shell of himself.
Is 3 weeks going to really matter?
I'm curious, though, when you're saying, like, this organization being irrational enough that they can make a run.
Yeah.
We've joked today about Podcast P and the fact that he's taking the hiatus and all those things.
Yeah.
What legitimately do you see as the reason behind him not doing the podcast anymore?
He realized he was getting really bad pub. I think his agent said, "Hey, you can really kind of like, you know, at least take some air out of this negativity that's going towards you by doing something like that." I think it's just a simple agent ploy. That's all.
Okay. I mean, I don't know what type of sponsorship and what type of money he's generated off that podcast. I feel like it'd be the dumb business venture just for a PR move on his part.
He probably got all his money anyway.
Yeah,
he probably got his money up front for the podcast. He doesn't have to worry about losing any money. And I think this is an agent. Agents go like, why wouldn't he have done this before? Well, the heat is really on him now. The heat has been on him more intensely lately. So his agent goes, hey, yo, how about if you do this? At least you'll survive the season with some semblance of goodwill.
Yeah, I actually think it backfired on him. I think it's worse.
Much worse.
That he came out and said he's not going to do the podcast to focus on his body and his mind.
Yeah, but
I think that's worse.
That's a typical, like, as far as the agent goes, the agent would think that would help.
Yeah, you may be right. Yeah, like if he would have done that in the offseason, maybe. Like, hey, you know what? I'm going to refocus this offseason. I think maybe you get some good PR out of it. But doing it now when you're 20 and 37, now 20 and 38, I think fans are looking at it like, you got to be kidding me, PG.
All right. 610-632-0975. We'll get back to the chat board. We'll get back to the YouTube chat and the text board. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Andrew Salciunas.
If Zach Bond
in a very interesting way.
Whether you like it or not, you don't know basketball.
Number 5 will always love you.
Dog mentality.
We play every drop we have for the rest of the show.
Yeah, Ray loves it.
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown.
632-0975. I got a consumer question for people and you. I don't know if you're a consumer. Like, do you have equipment? Like, do you have a power washer?
No.
You don't?
No.
All right, so I got to ask people the merits of the electric power washer. Because I had one for the last, I don't know, maybe 3 years. And I had to use it, and I plug it in, and I hear it, right? And it doesn't go on. So does that mean that it's burned out?
I would assume, right?
Yeah, so what are the merits of that? Like, how long are they supposed to last?
How many years have you had it?
3.
I mean, you're not. It's not like you're using it all the time.
Maybe 4. No, I'm not using it all the time. But when I use it, I use it extensively.
Now, I would think it should still work. Is it just not charged, or you had it charged?
No, it's electric.
So I'm saying you have to. Oh, you're not. It's not battery operated.
Yeah, you want to when I plug it in, it goes. I turn it on. I get nothing.
Yeah, you're talking to the wrong person.
No, never had experience with that, huh? Are you a home guy? Do you do stuff around the house? You have stuff in your garage? Like, you have a lawnmower?
Nah.
Whoa. You don't have a lawnmower?
Do not.
What, you live in an HOA?
No. I got a lawn guy.
You got a lawn guy?
Yeah, my.
I thought you were doing shirtless lawn work. What happened to that?
I don't do my own lawn.
You don't do your own? Never?
I'm not really a do things around the house type of guy. My father-in-law said to me the other day, he goes, some people run their house and others let their house run them.
So you got the father-in-law comes over and does all your stuff?
My father-in-law, God bless him.
Oh, my God.
Does
That's
a ton.
So weak.
Does a ton for me.
That is so weak.
I'd rather
You're not a lawyer anymore.
I'd rather pay a person to do the lawn.
Very bad.
It's terrible.
I don't like to do the lawn.
You don't have a blower? You blow stuff?
Oh, like to blow the leaves and stuff?
Yeah.
No. No. I don't do that stuff.
A weed whacker?
No. I've never owned a weed whacker in my life.
Oh, my God, dude.
I barely got a toolbox. Barely.
Listen, I'm not a around the house guy either, but I got a lawn, I got a mow, and I got a weed whacker that I got to whack weeds with. I actually have an attachment for the blower. Use the same battery. It's you put that battery in the a hedge clipper.
Oh, there you go.
And you trim your bushes with it.
Yeah, there you go. No, not my thing.
All right, well, I can't get any advice from you. Can I get advice from you, Ray? When I plug this power washer in, it's 1,800 PSI, by the way. I don't even know what that means.
Yep.
But it goes,
that doesn't sound good.
Is it done? Is it burned out?
I wouldn't say it's burned out.
Well, what would I do with it then?
I would take it to the power washer guy.
It cost me like $100. This thing. I'll pay, like the visit would be $75.
Yeah, well, in that case, it is
Throw
done.
it away.
$100.
Yeah, $100 isn't much when you think you had it for 4 years.
Yeah, that's $25 a year. You don't want to pay $75.
It would have cost you more to pay a power washing company.
Yeah, so I'd just go get a new one.
And what do I do with this one? Just put it out to the curb?
I'll take it.
What are you going to do with it?
I'm going to auction it off. This was a power washer owned by Mike Missanelli. Are you kidding me?
It doesn't work.
It's like driving John Voight's car. All right? People want that stuff.
No, if I put this out with the trash, would they take that?
Probably. I mean, they have.
Bill, you get any help, Bill?
I got nothing.
If I put that out to the trash, a piece of equipment like that.
Someone will take it.
It doesn't work.
People will still take it.
I'm talking about would the trash men take it?
I don't think it would make it to the trash man. I think someone would take it and try to fix it themselves.
Really?
Anytime you put anything like that out, someone takes it and tries to fix it.
I got two.
Is that how that works?
I got two rugs, two Oriental type rugs that if everybody's interested, you want to make me an offer, you can have them.
Yeah, you can put those out
really
there.
Monstrous Oriental rugs too. When those rugs were popular, they're beautiful rugs. I got they're cluttering my house now. I got nothing.
You may need to bring them.
I got to get rid of all this stuff. How do I do that?
I would ship it down to Hilton Head.
No. They don't. It doesn't work in a coastal situation.
Oh, it doesn't. It's not.
No,
it's not a coastal motif.
Not the aesthetic.
These are heavy rugs. Like I try to lighten my stuff up these days. I go lighter colors, grays.
The best part of this conversation to
light
me
wood
is I just appreciate you thinking I'd have any insight on a power washer.
I could have sworn that Bill would have known something about not you maybe, but
I'm
not.
Well, but maybe your dad had one or something,
Nah, I'm terrible with it.
Your dad have a power washer?
I don't think so. I feel like it was like a rental.
See, I got a bigger power washer than Shore, which is a gas power washer. That thing is insane. But my house here, I just use it to clean a carpet now and then, clean the porch.
Yeah, I would pay a power washer company.
Ask your father-in-law, since he does everything for you. Have him call in.
You know what he could probably do?
Sorry, no phones
Well,
today.
he also is a phone system guy. We could have had him come and probably fix the phones.
Now we find this out? It's 1:17, dude.
Yeah,
He's been a phone system guy for the last 3 hours and 17 minutes, and now we find out that you got to connect to the phone industry?
That's what he does. He runs like phone systems for commercial businesses and hospitals.
He couldn't stop over?
He could have.
He's too busy raking your leaves to be...
Yeah, he's power washing the house right now, unfortunately.
Wait, does he power wash your house?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
No, he does do a lot, though. For
He
us.
did rake the leaves, right? I didn't make that up.
Let me ask you this question. Seriously, I want you to be honest. You have a guy or your father-in-law mow your lawn?
No, we have a guy. What do you think,
Ray? Is that a fib?
No, he definitely
We had a guy before.
How much you pay your guy to mow your lawn?
You know what? I don't know because my wife handles it. We had a guy before, and she got rid of him and found somebody else. She handles all that.
What exactly is your role in all of this?
I just give excellent sports takes, right?
Who you hire? Sal Vitro from The Sopranos?
Yeah. Remember that? And then, wait, what was the character who came out and, and who was the guy from Goodfellas?
Feach Lamana. No, it's Feach Lamana's guy.
That's right.
Who took over the neighborhood.
Yeah, he got mad.
Yeah.
By the way, some update about Gene Hackman.
All right, go ahead.
This just in. Apparently, no carbon monoxide poisoning. The wife was found in the bathroom. He was in the mud room. An open pill bottle was also found.
Ooh.
But they think that may have been when she fell to the ground. It seems like now they are going to investigate it because it's...
well, how could the wife and him be found dead with the dog?
It says here, Gene Hackman's death is now being called suspicious. No obvious sign of gas leak as the investigation continues.
Well, did the dog have any wounds? Did they have wounds?
2 maintenance workers said they found the front door of the home ajar. The couple was dead inside. They did not observe any signs of forced entry.
No foul play, it said.
And now they're saying it's suspicious. Her body was found on the floor of the bathroom. A space heater was near her head. A prescription bottle of pills was located on the counter.
It's possible that they decided to end it all, but where's the dog come in? They wanted to end the dog too?
Yeah, it says he may have suddenly fallen as well. 2 other dogs were found alive. One was in the bathroom with the wife. It's interesting. I mean, really.
The dog had enough too? Or what?
Dog had pill, maybe? Accidentally?
Maybe.
It's possible. Maybe. Yeah. But he's in the mudroom and she's in the bathroom. I don't know. I'm sure we'll find out more.
That's very weird. But anyway, we were lauding Gene Hackman's acting performances. And, I've got some great movies that he was in. French Connection, Unforgiven, Crimson Tide, Hoosiers, Mississippi Burning, Rural Tenenbaums, Absolute Power, No Way Out, The Firm, Enemy of the State, The Replacements. Good body of work for him. That's why I put him 6th on my all-time list behind De Niro, Pacino, Nicholson, Denzel, Gary Oldman, and then I have Hackman, then Daniel Day-Lewis, and then maybe DiCaprio, and then somebody else, and then Tom Hanks. Number 10. He holds down my 10th spot for his brilliant performance in Road to Perdition, where the same guy who was in Sleepers in Seattle now plays a hitman. The Mike Missanelli Show continues on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
76ers lose again. I'm Ray Dunham with this Fanatic Sports Update. This time around, it was a close one. Knicks beat the 76ers 110-105 for the Sixers' 9th straight loss. Jalen Brunson scored 11 of his 34 points in the game's final 4 minutes to lift the Knicks. Post-game, Nick Nurse talked about the struggles of guarding Jalen Brunson.
They're trying to do 2 things with him. I mean, he only took 5 threes tonight. That's pretty good. We try to not have him shoot shoot too many threes. And then our other goal is to not foul him. And I think yeah, we bumped him a little bit here and there. But I thought 16 was quite a few tonight for him.
Sixers have 2 days till they host the Warriors on Saturdays. They will attempt to avoid losing 10 straight games. Flyers going for the 4th win in a row tonight as they play the Penguins in Pittsburgh. You can hear the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Phillies are in action. Grapefruit League action today. They got the Yankees. Kyle Schwarber batting leadoff and playing first base. And Mundo Sosa out there in left field for the Phils. This update is brought to you by Mattress Firm. Mattress Firm's President's Day sale ends soon. Get matched to your perfect bed now and sleep at night. Plus, if you see a lower price, they'll match it. Restrictions apply. I'm Ray Dunn, the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
on the things we talked about today. We didn't get to one of them, and I want to get into a little bit now. So we talked about Podcast P, not doing a Podcast P anymore because he wants to focus. And in the first game, after he said they had a pretty good game against the Knicks last night, the Sixers actually had the lead late, and then Jalen Brunson, that dude, man, he's just phenomenal.
He is.
Every time I watch him, I'm more impressed. He's just phenomenal the way he gets to the basket.
Did he go to Temple, Ray?
Yeah, should have.
I know he should have.
He should have gone to
Salt in the wound for Ray Dunn.
Yeah.
Why? What's your problem today?
And by the way, we're saying Paul George had a good game. It's funny that we've lowered our standards so much.
He had 8 turnovers, didn't
he? Yeah. He had 5 turnovers in the second half alone. Yeah. He had 7 on the game.
Yeah.
And his first half shooting was terrible. He was 2 of 9. Now, look, I'll give him credit coming on.
He had a big third quarter.
Yeah, he came on in the second half, but it's just our expectations are so low that now it's like, great game by Paul George.
I hear you, and we got feedback from the people. So, Ray, let's get into Podcast P giving his rationale, which I think is completely agent-driven on him giving up the podcast.
Fellas, it's no secret this season is up to this point, man, it hasn't been what we envisioned. I know my goal when I first signed with Philadelphia was to bring a championship to these amazing fans here. I still remain positive about that, and that is still the case and where I'm coming from. With that being said, though, I want to let the Podcast P family know that after today's episode with Dwight, I plan to take a break from the pod just to focus on getting my body right, getting mentally right, and, help this squad make a push towards our goal to finish the season out, give ourselves a chance to be in contentions to compete for a championship.
Now, let me ask you this. Do you think that the agent said, hey, while you're at this, make sure you throw a bun to the fans? Like, that is completely agent-driven. These amazing fans, come on, man.
Well, it also could be. I just wanted to pull up his last episode of Podcast P prior to this one.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to read a few of the first comments under it on YouTube. PG, 2 bleeping points. 2 points in 37 minutes. 2 points is crazy, my guy. PG got that podcast mentality. Bro, you really got the nerve to keep uploading? Bronny scored more than PG. Let that sink in. Then I can't believe this. So I think he saw a lot of the hate.
Of course he did.
I think he saw a lot of
hate. He's really getting the heat on him right now until the agent comes in and goes, yo, man, you got to do a little something here.
What was that, Ray?
He saw hate on his podcast YouTube feed. Like, he's got social media, doesn't he? He's going to see it anywhere. You score 2 points, the hate's coming at some point somewhere. The idea that the podcast changes this is ludicrous.
This is the best one, though.
He's not stupid. He knows the heat's on.
This is one of the best comments under the last episode. This was not this episode, the one before he announced it. First podcast in history where 99% of the fans don't even want it and would rather you focus on your real job.
Well, there you go. See, this is what I'm talking about. So
that's at the context.
This is a compromise. Like, this is throwing a bone. Okay, I'll do this. And maybe I can get back some of the cachet that I have with this fan base. But it's too late. This fan base is now. That's why. Okay, there's going to be an exciting game Saturday. You going to that game, Ray?
No.
You're not going to that game?
No, I told you guys. I got things to do Saturday.
Oh,
no, not a date, though, because he doesn't do dates on weekends.
Yeah, no dates on weekends.
With your buddy to see Steph?
No, we sold these tickets, by the way.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Got some of your money
Warriors
back.
are always a sell for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
By the way, breaking news. NBA Central is back on Twitter. So Stephen A. put RIP Central yesterday. They just reshared it with them on life support. So they're back.
Woo!
Well, good for them. All right, so we did the podcast at DMP. We didn't do tush push footback. We did some Robo conversations, but we didn't mention, guys, this NFLPA's third annual player poll that was released Wednesday, which had the Eagles in surprisingly low grades. Now, this is their own players grading here. They have low grades in team travel, locker room, treatment of families, worse than it had been the year before. The Eagles went from a C to an F in travel, a B- to a D+ in the locker room, and a C to a C- in family treatment. Just imagine, had they taken care of those things, they would have won 2 Super Bowls, apparently, this year instead of 1. They did well in terms of head coach, although he got an A-. Food and dining, A-. Training staff, B+, and owner, B. Now, why wouldn't the owner have an A?
Yeah, that one's surprising to me. Let's see what they said about it. So, owner Jeffrey Lurie's average rating for perceived willingness to invest in the facilities is an 8.5 out of 10. The players feel that Lurie moderately contributes to a positive team culture, and the players feel that Lurie is extremely committed to building a competitive team. So, I don't know why you only got a B. I would think from the outside looking in, he'd be an A owner.
I would think. Now, the training room, we hear much about it, and food and all that kind of stuff. 19th. Weight room, what? 21st. Strength coaches, 28th. Nutrition and dietitian, 28th. Locker room, 25th. Treatment of families, 27th. And travel, 30th. These are low grades.
It's interesting, though, because like a lot of those where they're low grades in terms of out of 32 teams were still a B or a B+. So I guess it's just other teams got
better,
got an A.
Well, I always thought that the NovaCare food was supposed to be spectacular.
It was. That's what they were always known for.
Did you eat NovaCare food when you were working for the Eagles?
A couple of times. Not often, but a couple of times I was there, and it was always good.
Did you have to pay?
No, I don't think I did, actually.
Really? Everybody who works at the facility gets free food? Kind of like a cafeteria where the schleppers have to pay?
I can't answer to that. I don't know if everyone gets free. I may have just gotten free because...
You were Big Dom?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's what it was. Because I was only there a handful of times. There was no reason for me to really be at NovaCare.
What did you do? Where did you work at?
The Link. I was only on game days, really.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
I was only doing game day stuff.
What did you do on game day?
I was personal player security.
You were what?
Personal
You were
player
like a bouncer?
security. Yeah,
That's what you did for the Eagles?
Yeah, I would hang out. I'd have to make sure that no media bothered the players during the games.
Did you chastise the media?
So I was basically like on Big Dom's staff. It wasn't Big Dom at the time.
Give me a story of some media guy that you had to harass because they were getting too close.
Never had to harass anybody, but sometimes they just get too close, especially like where like Akers would warm up. Sometimes they come over and they try to get too close to him with the cameras.
You protected David Akers. That's
and then when a player gets injured, you walk them in so that people don't bother him.
Big stuff there.
Yeah.
You have to take out all the heavy guns to protect David Akers.
Check credentials coming into the locker room after, easy stuff.
Well, Akers had a problem. Well, I know Akers and you have had a history, but Akers and you also had a problem, right, Bill?
You and Akers had a problem?
Yeah, I think I told you that story before.
Well, why don't you retell it?
So David Akers and Sav Raka, the punter at the time, were having a catch pregame.
Yeah.
And I'm standing there, and Akers drops the ball. And I make the joke, that's why you're the kicker, David. And he got in my face.
That's a totally obnoxious thing for Bill.
Oh, yeah.
Can you just picture Bill saying something like that? Like Bill always has... He has mouth diarrhea sometimes.
Yeah, it was
sometimes.
In hindsight, not a smart thing to say.
Yeah, I would be ticked at that too.
Well, he acted as if I called his mother,
Well, he
a bad name.
He overreacts to stuff. He overreacted with me as well. But
he got in my face.
So what did you do? He got in your face?
Oh yeah.
What did he do? What did he say?
Oh yes, that's why I'm the kicker, tough guy. That's why I'm the kicker.
Whoa!
And then got to be separated a little bit. And then throughout the game,
were you silent through this when he was threatening you?
I told him, I said, I was only playing around. But throughout the game, I had to be the guy. I also would bring the tee out to David Akers after he would kick a field goal or an extra point. So after we were kind of separated pregame, now the rest of the game, I'm walking out onto the field to hand him the tee after each kick.
Oh, was that uncomfortable?
A little bit.
You definitely thought you were tight with him. You were making a joke as if you guys were boys, and he did not regard you as one of his boys.
I think you're correct. I mean, in hindsight, I was. What a stupid comment by me. Like, why did I say that? But you're probably right. I probably thought we were more buddy than we were. Not a smart comment.
So he's a karate man. So was he flashing his karate in front of you?
Yeah, he almost drop kicked me.
Tough. He called you tough guy.
I think he did say tough guy. I think he dropped the tough guy.
Little guy like David Akers coming over, tough guy. You're all jacked at the time, all muscled up,
man.
tight end,
I was jacked out of my mind then too.
And he came over and was unfazed by that.
He's got a black belt, right? I think he's a black belt guy.
He wanted to chop you up.
He did.
The little kicky boy.
But I was wrong in that situation.
You imagine?
I'm not going to go back at him when I'm the idiot. I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry.
If you guys actually came to blows, Mike's reaction on the radio the next day to some random staffer.
It would have been awesome.
Yeah, I think that would have been my last game.
I would have found out this story. Oh, I would have blown his puppy way up. What did Sab Rocker go? What you doing, mate? What did he say?
He was a big dude.
Sab Rocker?
Yeah, very big guy.
What did he do? Did he try to protect Davey?
No, it was quick. It was quick.
Oh, Bill didn't want to even admit that story. We forced him into that.
I know, because I was the idiot.
Right, we squeezed that one out of him.
I was the idiot in that story.
He doesn't like to be controversial, this Bill. 610-632-0975. Back after this.
Tyrone Johnson.
Do you not think that the people that came...
I'm losing my edge.
All right, it's 1:40, Mike Missanelli Show. Losing my edge. We had some fun today. This was a fun show, even though we didn't have one phone call today because our system is out.
System's out.
I don't understand the technical situations, but the whole phone lines have been blown out for every radio station we have here, and there are 6 of them.
Yeah, it wasn't just a Fanatic thing.
No.
So, but we got
all music stations that this company owns were without phone calls as well. So they couldn't do interviews.
Yeah, I think there's a workaround to do interviews, just not callers.
Really?
Yeah, I think there's a workaround. If we had a guest, we could have dialed them up somehow.
All right, so we decide on the actors. We decided that Gene Hackman was in the top 10 and ahead of Tom Hanks. We didn't.
I wouldn't put him above Tom Hanks. You would, so.
It's not even a question. It's like not even a consideration that you would put both Gene Hackman and Gary Oldman above Tom Hanks.
I disagree.
Even though your wife loves Captain Phillips, I understand.
She likes Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Well, how many Oscars does Hanks have? 2, doesn't he?
I don't know.
For Best Actor.
Where did he get an Oscar other than Forrest Gump?
He didn't get one for Philadelphia?
I don't know. Did he? You're Mr. Research over there with your computer.
Yeah, how many Oscars does he have?
Tom
Hanks.
What's the chat board saying? Chat board saying anything about this discussion?
They were taken by the Acres conversation. I was following them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What did the chat board say about the Acres conversation, Bill?
I don't.
All of a sudden now you're getting a little nervous, huh?
No, they were saying
scared.
Bill's a little concerned because people were talking up his physique in the Acres v. Bill conversation.
Oh, so Bill was talking up his physique.
No, Bill was not. The listeners were talking at Bill's.
Yeah, they were just going back and forth about if me and Akers actually
for the first
went
time
to blows, what would happen.
In this show's history, Bill wasn't the person talking about Bill's physique. It was actually someone else talking about Bill's physique. Yes.
Yeah, that's what all the chat was saying.
So they were saying that you would kick Akers' butt?
Some people were saying.
Really?
But I wouldn't do that.
I know. He's a karate man.
He probably could take me down. I wouldn't have done that.
I would take Akers.
I was supposed to be there to protect. I was supposed to be there to protect him.
All right, what else are they saying, Ray?
Now they're just reacting to us reacting to them. So this is always, it's like a circle, the way this happens. The most recent chats end up being the chats about what we
got any
were
Tom
reacting
Hanks devotees? They usually come at me. Yesterday, I gave them a chance to come at me with the tush push. Today, Tom Hanks. They always love to come at me.
There were a few in the text board with the, Mike just hates Tom Hanks.
No, Ray, you heard it objectively, right? I pretty much clarified that he was a good actor, but not an upper echelon actor.
You do seem pretty set on taking his legacy and knocking it down.
I got him in the top 10. Like, what? Like, can I do better than that?
Well, when you did your top 10, you listed 8, then said someone else to fill out that top 10 at number 9 ahead of 10.
Yeah, and Tom Hanks.
Well, I say he's in the top 10.
Tom Hanks won back-to-back Oscars for Best Actor when he did Philadelphia and then Forrest Gump. He's only the second actor to accomplish that feat.
I told you that they were 2 of his 3 good performances.
But I think just off of those 2 Oscars alone, how many Oscars did Hackman have?
I don't know if Hackman had an Oscar, but he was in consistently.
He did. He had Best Actor in 1972
for French Connection.
Probably.
Yeah, that's French Connection.
Wow, he actually has Best Supporting Actor in 71, Best Actor in 72, a Best Supporting Actor in 1968. Best Actor in 89, Best Supporting Actor in 93. But I don't know what
there
those.
You go. He's got quite a resume. But his range is a lot better than a guy like Hanks. Hanks does not have. Listen, folks, seriously, I want you to seriously consider this. What is Tom Hanks' range compared to the other actors that I've talked about today?
Wait, hold on. And I don't want to take anything away from Gene Hackman because I like him. I think he's a great actor. But doesn't he usually play Gene Hackman? Does Gene Hackman really play that many different type of characters? He's Gene Hackman.
He played an attorney in The Firm. He didn't play like a Gene Hackman character. He played an attorney. He was an attorney.
Yeah, but he's still always kind of the same guy. Just like Tom Hanks is. Tom Hanks was an attorney in Philadelphia. He was an astronaut 2 years later.
Yeah.
And in between, he was Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
That's a pretty wide-ranging 3 roles.
I just think Hackman has a better presence on screen than Tom Hanks does. That's just me. And I know that there are a lot of people that like Hanks.
Yeah, they do.
One texter's takeaway from the conversation earlier was the use of the word great by Bill and saying that it's starting to lose its luster.
It's a great movie.
What'd I say?
Bill says it's a great movie.
I think people are starting to say that you attach the word great to too many things, that the word great might not mean great if you use great that often.
Yeah, like movies. So
I've said The King of Queens is a great show. I stand by that.
It's not a great show.
I said that Shutter Island was a great movie. Stand by that. Captain Phillips, great movie. Stand by that.
I understand. I think some people think that if you're building a pyramid, the great tier is further up on the pyramid, and your great tier might be a little bit too large to be supported by the rest of the pyramid.
I totally agree with that.
Nick Sirianni, great coach. Stand by that.
And see, that's again, a lot of things are great to you. We're trying to get to the non-great tier, the good tier. Has to be below the great tier.
All right. I have a good producer, a good co-host.
Well, that's nicer than what I'd say about him, so I'll take it.
This guy on borrowed time, right? He's trying to make a career out of it.
7 more minutes. Why don't you tell
me that story about Ian Rappaport and Jordan Schultz? This is not like Bill Colarulo, David Akers. This is Ian Rappaport and Jordan Schultz, two men that cover the NFL. Bell, tell us the story. What happened here?
So how about this? So Rappaport and Schultz are both in Indianapolis because of the combines there. And apparently they run into each other at the Starbucks at the JW Marriott. And Schultz goes up to Rappaport to say, we need to talk. And Rappaport says, we don't need to talk. And then Schultz says, if you have anything to say it to my bleeping face. So and he goes, if this continues, we're going to have a bleeping problem. This is all, and they go back and forth.
What's the beef over?
So the beef is over. Schultz reported the other day that Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford met with Raiders minority owner Tom Brady in Montana. Rappaport then downplayed the report, saying it was just a chance unplanned meeting. And then Schultz dismissed that, saying, no, this was not a random encounter. So they're disputing each other's reports, and Schultz went to confront him, saying, hey, you got something to say to me, say it to my face.
Well, here's my read on this. These petty little reporters going at each other. Get over yourselves. But I'm thinking that Rappaport was a little jelly that this guy had a better report than, so he tried to downplay the report since he didn't have it. That would be my read on it. However, Jordan Schultz is kind of a Nepo reporter.
I didn't know that until this morning.
Jordan Schultz is the son of Howard Schultz, who founded Starbucks. So he's a rich kid.
I did not know that until this morning. But we'll see if anything plays out. And then Adam Schefter got in on it, Ray, with a little bit of a troll today.
Yeah, that was good. That might be the best thing that came out of this. Schefter tweeting a picture of the Starbucks logo with the Indianapolis dash and keep my head on a swivel. Oh. So he's ready.
These little 5'5" reporters stirring each other up.
Well, that's the thing. These are the only people in society that can approach.
Yeah.
Each other.
You're gonna have a problem. Me and you are gonna go in our 5'5" selves.
We're gonna go. Who do you think would win?
I don't know. You think the kid Schultz with the rich money, or Rappaport, who's been at it for a long time? What do you think?
I don't know. I don't know what their background is.
I think Schultz might be a little younger.
Great irony in where this all happens, though. The fact that it wasn't a Starbucks is kind of incredible.
Over a $7 latte.
Like, do you think?
Guess what? You're banned from this store. I'm banned. You're banned. My father owns these.
You go drink the Dunkin' and you like it.
That's right. Drink that weak coffee.
Yo, America runs on Dunkin', Ray.
Anyone going through our spots?
There's nothing better than reporter wars with the reporters getting at each other. I love it.
Think there's any chance that there was like a call placed to that Starbucks in Indianapolis? Like, if you see Rappaport step in for his latte today, you let us know. Jordan's got to talk to him.
Exactly. Yes. He probably got tipped off by the Starbucks.
Now, as we're talking about some national reporters, talk about a national personality. You guys all remember a few weeks ago, Joy Taylor was in the news because she was in that lawsuit.
Maybe a little sex scandal here?
Yeah, and the lawsuit alleged that she had gotten her job by doing certain things. No one knows if that's true or not. But interesting, I just got this from Front Office Sports. Questions are rising about Joy Taylor's status at Fox Sports FS1 network because she's missed 3 straight days of hosting Speak this week. And Taylor missed the shows because she was, quote-unquote, sidelined by the network, sources have said. So not sure what's going on with Joy Taylor now, but she has not been on the air for 3 days.
What was Fox doing, man? They're clipping everybody. My girl got clipped.
Oh, that's right.
Marissa, not going to get it renewed?
It's interesting.
What is happening in this world?
A lot of stuff going on.
All right. By the way, the one story we didn't get to today, Ray, I know you gave me the packet. Ray gives me a nice little packet of stories. We forgot to mention this one, Bill.
What's that?
Could the rested up Flyers actually make a late playoff push? I'm sorry, I forgot to some story here.
That was for Bill.
Wait, no.
On the sheet for Bill.
We talked a little bit about the Fly guys earlier. They got a big game tonight, 7:30 up against the Penguins.
We didn't talk about the late playoff push. We didn't talk about the issue of the late playoff, which we may talk about tomorrow since we'll get our phones back. And people that save the phone call today have to come at us hard tomorrow as we wrap up the week, right?
Yeah, I'm not holding out hope for a playoff push.
You're not?
Even though they're only 5 points back, there's a ton of teams in between
Coots
them.
and Meach and Tips.
Well, the trade deadline is coming up March 7th, I believe. Flyers will probably...
Risto? Is Risto going to be with the squad? Or
nah, they'll probably trade Ristolainen. There's rumors that maybe Lawton would get traded. And they still, if you look at the percentage chance of them making the playoffs, and this is all based on probabilities, they have a 1.9% chance. Now, if they keep winning, they're on a 3-game winning streak. If they can continue winning for the next few games, maybe that changes. But I think they're still in a rebuild.
Come on, Billy Blue Line. Believe a little.
I know. I'm trying to be rational.
Billy Blue Line.
Postseason. Here we go. It starts tonight. The Penguins are going down.
Hey, they've been on fire since they've come out of the break.
Another Penguin game?
Yeah, they had a home
and home situation?
Yeah, so they're in Pittsburgh tonight.
Home and home.
Hey, score! All right, maybe we'll start tomorrow with a lot of hockey talk if they win tonight.
Yeah, let's start tomorrow with a little hockey talk. Today was a great day, man. We manufactured a show without phone calls. I think we ought to be applauded, right? Can you play the applause? Sometimes we have to applaud ourselves because nobody else will. There we go.
Mike applauding himself.
Nice job by everybody here. And nice job by the listeners, man. They did a really nice job for us today by just listening. But no, participating on the chat board and participating on the YouTube chat that Bill was involved in. But he didn't recite much from the YouTube chat today. I don't understand.
They were kind of all over the place today. But we appreciate our YouTubers as always.
Yes, we certainly do. All right.
They are telling you to take the sticker off your hat.
Oh, is the sticker on my hat?
Yes. I meant to tell you that earlier. They didn't know if that was an intentional thing.
No, I forgot about it.
Yeah, because it's a brand new hat.
It's a nice hat, too, isn't it? You like this hat?
Yeah, it's an interesting Phillies logo.
It is. It's like a red logo with a black hat.
I was impressed because you typically don't go logos.
I know, but this was different. This was like not like a team logo. It's kind of a team logo, but it's really not.
Nice.
So I thought it went with the black sweater I have on. All right, everybody, thanks for listening. Thanks for indulging us today with no phone calls. We really appreciate it. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Everybody have a great rest of the day. Talk to you tomorrow.
Fanatic Sports Update.
76ers lose again. I'm right done with this Fanatic Sports.